latte and regrets the cream. True crime cafe where secrets spill like cream. Every sip a confession, every cup a scream. Tables hold stories soaked in guilt and grime. Dago serves the brew, murders keep the time. Blood on the menu, coffee served blacker than a night raid. Knives out, silverware sharper than a switchblade. Cops on the block, sniffing scents like a bloodhound. Sharp lines drawn where dreams get gunned down. Orders come quick, whispers in the steam rising. Crooked deals brew, truth drowning, no compromise. In this cafe and quaint, it's a scene out of nightmares. Mugs clink, but the sounds laced with despair. True crime cafe where secrets spill like cream. Every sip a confession, every cup a scream. Tables hold stories soaked in guilt and grime. Dago serves the brew, murders keep the time. Menacing the code, specials written in blood. Today's dish, betrayal, served with a grudge. Dago in the back, flipping pancakes with a snarl. Bullet holes in the walls, paint a mural that's dark. Customers in shadows, faces blurred like a dream. Conversations and whispers, plotting schemes unseen. This ain't your local diner, this is hell's canteen, where your last meal's a latte and regrets the cream. True crime cafe where secrets spill like cream. Every sip a confession, every cup a scream. Tables hold stories soaked in guilt and grime. Dago serves the brew, murders keep the time. Blood on the menu, coffee served blacker than a night raid. Knives out, silverware sharper than a switchblade. Cops on the block, sniffing scents like a bloodhound. Sharp lines drawn where dreams get gunned down. Orders come quick, whispers in the steam rising. Crooked deals brew, truth drowning, no compromise. In this cafe and quaint, it's a scene out of nightmares. Mugs clink, but the sounds laced with despair. True crime cafe where secrets spill like cream. Every sip a confession, every cup a scream. Tables hold stories soaked in guilt and grime. Dago serves the brew, murders keep the time. Menacing the code, specials written in blood. Today's dish, betrayal, served with a grudge. Dago in the back, flipping pancakes with a snarl. Bullet holes in the walls, paint a mural that's dark. Customers in shadows, faces blurred like a dream. Conversations and whispers, plotting schemes unseen. This ain't your local diner, this is hell's canteen, where your last meal's a latte and regrets the cream. True crime cafe where secrets spill like cream. Every sip a confession, every cup a scream. Tables hold stories soaked in guilt and grime. Dago serves the brew, murders keep the time. Blood on the menu, coffee served blacker than a night raid. Knives out, silverware sharper than a switchblade. Cops on the block, sniffing scents like a bloodhound. Sharp lines drawn where dreams get gunned down. Orders come quick, whispers in the steam rising. Crooked deals brew, truth drowning, no compromise. In this cafe and quaint, it's a scene out of nightmares. Mugs clink, but the sounds laced with despair. True crime cafe where secrets spill like cream. Every sip a confession, every cup a scream. Tables hold stories soaked in guilt and grime. Dago serves the brew, murders keep the time. Menacing the code, specials written in blood. Today's dish, betrayal, served with a grudge. Dago Dago in the back, flipping pancakes with a snarl. Bullet holes in the walls, paint a mural that's dark. Customers in shadows, faces blurred like a dream. Conversations and whispers, plotting schemes unseen. This ain't your local diner, this is Hell's Canteen, where your last meal's a latte and regrets the cream. True crime cafe where secrets spill like cream. Every sip a confession, every cup a scream. Tables hold stories soaked in guilt and grime. Dago serves the brew, murders keep the time.
All right. Welcome back to the cafe, folks. Number 2, we are open again. Thank you guys for jumping in here with us. I appreciate you all so very much. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you guys for jumping into a late night with Dago show, guys. Always very much appreciated every time you guys are here. I love it. Please make sure to hit the like button and to please share this out. Let everybody know what we're doing in here. And well, okay. You know what's next. Hola, señoritas and señoras. How are you today? Welcome back, everybody. Good evening, Sunday night. Weekend's almost over for some of you guys, but hopefully, a lot of you guys are getting to be able to be off tomorrow because of the holiday. And if that's the case, you got a 3-day weekend, and I hope so. And I'm excited for all of you that do. Come on in and grab a chair, get a seat, get comfortable, grab a cup of whatever it may be. Just like me, it could be coffee, it could be tea, whatever it may be. I hope you do jump on in here and have a conversation with me. Oh, excuse me. Come on in. Who we got in here so far? Nana Kyle, welcome back to you. Kent Corbett, good to see you tonight, my friend. Again, Meg P, the megastars in the house. Always happy to see you. Elliot Pollock, good to see you, my friend. I watch Bruce all the time. Bruce is a trip. I love him to death. Bruce Rivers, that channel is great. Jen 7, welcome back, dear. Good to see you tonight. Jesse Schul, my friend. Hopefully you'll join us up here tonight. Good to see you. Jules Mora, thank you for joining us. Good to see you. Angel D, good to see you. Good to have you here. Miss Gianna Gambino, welcome, yeah. Thank you for joining us tonight. Simply Solo Yinzal's in the house. Good to see you. Buenos dias, Amy Conway. Good to see you. Excuse me. Of course, the lovely Miss Tandy, Seahawks fans in the house. Mittens for Kittens, welcome back to you. Good to see you tonight. Hey, Lucci, you got some explaining to do. She's always explaining something, ain't she? Welcome, Lucy. Good to see you, sweetie. I appreciate you always being here because if it weren't for you, Dum, 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 dum. That's me. Between her and Eddie, it helps me understand so much. Truly. Um, let's see who else do we have in here. I want to thank my blue crew. For those of you that are blue, thank you so much for jumping in and taking time out of your day to join me to do this. I love you for that very much. Tracy, welcome back to you. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Angel. Sometimes I do 3 of them. You never know. Reptile, Wildfire. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Please, everybody, if you would, please hit that like button. Share this out. And like it if you would. Even if you don't, just pretend like you do for a little bit. It helps. Leave me some comments. Share it out. Let everybody know what we're doing. Let's bring everybody we can in here. We got some big old pots of sauce in here that we can spill. It's Sunday, so you know they're always full. And plenty to share. So bring them on in. Moonbreaker, welcome back, my friend. Oh, I've seen that, Jen. It's pretty good. It is. I've seen it. It's really good. C-Jag, welcome back to you. Good to see ya. Tomorrow's the holy day. It is Labor Day. Labor Day. That's when all the pregnant women in the world go into labor at the same time. That's true. It's true. Just wait. You'll see. You will see. Just wait. There'll be a whole bunch of babies born tomorrow. Gianna Gambino. Well, I try. Thank you very much, Gianna. I appreciate that more than anything. You have no idea. $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Gianna. Again, like I said, everybody, we never ever expect donations, tips, super chats, super stickers. Anybody that donates to the Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, it's never expected. But it is so very much appreciated, guys. It helps me to run this channel. YouTube does not pay us very much, and I got to pay for StreamYard, internet service, which is stupid, and all sorts of other things that have to be paid for in here. And that's how I do it when people donate and send tips to us via the Cash App and the Venmo and the PayPal and stuff. It comes out of that. All of it goes to that. So, again, anybody that does that, God bless. We do appreciate you so very much, but we don't ever expect it, folks. For you don't have to do that to be here. Gracefully Salty, welcome back. Good to see you again tonight. Appreciate you for joining us for Late Night with Dago. I could have possibly been conceived on Labor Day considering my birthday falls. When's your birthday, Mr. Elliott? Polach, I think I pronounced it right. I hope. I'm not going to say it Polak because that's just wrong. Unless that's actually the pronunciation, but I think it's Polach. Angel says, don't get pregnant on Christmas. You'll get your own room at the hospital. Yes, you will. It's wonderful to see you gracefully. Thank you for being here. Lucy Lou. Lucy Heather Fitz. Heather Lucy. I don't know what to call you sometimes. Moonlight Baby, welcome back. Good to see you. What are you and Meg talking about? One of you two are going to have to join me up here one of these days on panel so I can hear your voice express your views, not just your typing hands. I know Lucy's probably going to swear at me now. Fizzy's fizzing around. Welcome back, Fizzy. Hola to you, Midnight. Good to see you. I know a lot of you guys are going to be swearing at me here soon. Cyray's alleged kidnapper. Okay, that sounds good. All right, well, that's why I'm that's the other part of me, Elliot, is I'm Czech, Slovenian, whatever you want to call it, Transylvanian, half Italian and half that. So Cat K's in the house. There she is. Bang, bang, boom. All right. I've been waiting to do that for a while. Cat, it's about time. You've been here for at least 3 years at the minimum, okay? And I know you're always here. Welcome, Miss Tracy. Good to see you. You're always here. Yes, Tracy, I was. And Meg. um you're always here, like I said. You're very supportive. You're a very, very kind and helpful, and I really appreciate you. So I think it's time that we give you one of them wrench their things and color you blue. So welcome, Miss Cat, and thank you so much for being in this community, being part of this family, and now for being part of this team. I do appreciate you. And Noni McPoppins, welcome back to you. Michelle F., great to see you. You are so welcome, Miss Cat. God bless. I appreciate you so very much. You are not, Angel. You're just a little wild when you feel like being wild. I think you've paid your dues, Miss Cat. You've been here a long time, truly, like longer than a lot of people. So I just never thought about it, and I didn't think for some reason you would be interested in it. But I'm grateful to see you received it. Great, that's good. Some people don't want it, believe it or not, guys. And I get like vibes from people. Sometimes I feel like they wouldn't want it, or sometimes they would want it. But I'm working on a couple people. I'm looking at a couple people. We've been having larger, you know, chat communities and things like that. So, of course I do, Angel. You've been here a long time too, good or bad, but you're still here. Of course I love you. I love all you guys. I really truly do. That's a fact. I'm really worried about, to be honest with you, um, Captain Jenks. I haven't seen him in well over a month now, you guys, and there's no kind of a response or no activity within the Discord or nothing. And that, if it was the fact that he just was over it and didn't want to get into any of this stuff anymore, that I get, but I haven't seen any activity with him in the Discord or anything. And he was kind of somewhat active in there, so I'm a bit worried about him. I go looking for you guys when I don't see you for a while. If you're a regular in here, and I get nervous when I don't see you or have any contact with you. So I worry. Virginia Wolf, my brother, good to see you. Another one's been here for a long time. The timeline is different from last time you see him do his 3-point turn, 4:07 a.m. That's allegedly last time before he goes in. Speeds up 4:20 is different start time. What are you talking about, Miss Tracy? Is that something new, or are you? Allison, welcome back to you, Michelle F. I think I said it already, but hello again. Are you going through that footage latest released? Wait, I did say that to you earlier, but yes, because I was looking to say, is there something new that I don't know about? I did watch Black Phone, Jen. It was pretty wild. Yes, they did. Yes, they did, Miss Jen. Allison Chains is the shiznit. What are you doing? You want to bed, Jess? You just said you weren't going to bed. I was hoping you was going to join me up here. Oh, I see. Okay. Then you go lay down, my friend. Good night, and I hope you have a good night's rest. I'm going to need to be heard while I'm practically landing airplanes with all my arms swinging and trying to tell Dago stuff. I try to see it. I'm sorry. I try. I don't get to see everybody. I'm sorry. That's why I need more mods in here, because sometimes we only have a few because people get busy with real life. I understand. And that way they can let me know. Just watching the first half of the Catholics versus the. Oh, okay. Well, have a good night, Jess. I appreciate you, bud. And get some rest. Is Pebbles here? Yeah, Michelle. What's his name? Saeed. He lied about his birth date or something, I think, but they saw it. They saw it. 407, 408. So to answer that question, is there some kind of a new footage that was just put out or something that I haven't already looked at? I don't see everything all the time, but Lucy, am I missing something? Or Meg? We miss her and Bonnie. I miss Bonnie too. Bonnie M. I really do. I haven't seen her in a long time. I hope she's doing okay. Last time I saw her, she had stated that she had just gotten off of dialysis and was doing good, and I was very happy and grateful for that for her. And then I never saw her. I don't know where she went or why either. 158. Don't go there, Lucy. There's Eddie. Welcome, brother. Welcome back. Good to have you. I have answers for you, by the way, buddy. I have your video. We found it. As soon as we got out of here, we found it for you. My moderators found it, actually. Tomboy was the one that found that one. Bomb Toy and Rach and SRB and myself, we were all looking for it. Bomb Toy found it, Eddie said we got it. Oh yeah, definitely Fizzy. It took forever, didn't it? The link is pinned at the top of the chat, Eddie, if you're interested in popping up tonight, hopefully. No, Peter R. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that one. So nobody has any idea about that. CZ, welcome back, dear. Good to have you. I found a bunch of wrong. Oh, you did fine, Rach. You did great. You found the videos. They were just not that specific one. So we have them all now. Yeah, Fizzy. That's usually how that works. When one of them people do that, they follow along. You know what I mean? It's kind of ridiculous, but it happens. Yes, Tandy and Tomboy have peanut butter fudge. They showed it to me. I'm jealous. That's all right. I have a hellacious dessert to eat tonight when I get a little. You get an A for effort every day, Miss Rach. You've already done before I even gave you that wrench. We're already doing so much for the community, so you get a more than one A for sure. Peanut butter is amazing. I love peanut butter. Oh my God, Eddie. No Jesse, no Eddie. I'm done. I quit. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you soon. Thank you and good night. I'm just kidding. What's happening, Bootsy? Good to see you tonight. Mr. Kent Corbett, good to see you. No, I wouldn't do that to you guys. Unless I didn't have a choice. I don't even really like peanut butter, but then after years of not having any, oh, I love it. I love it. Especially Jif peanut butter is like my favorite. I love it, love it, love it. You know what's funny is when I was a kid, I would only eat the crunchy kind that had peanuts in it because I love peanuts too. And now I can't stand that. I have to have the creamy now. It's weird. Don't ask me why. Oh my God, that's so good, Fizzy. Granny Smith apples too. Yeah, I used to love the crunchy stuff. Creamy Jif peanut butter with on toast with raspberry or strawberry jam. I love it. Why would you feel bad? We're all family here, simply. We're allowed to joke and have fun. Don't ever feel bad about that. I have a really good sense of humor and I can take a lot. So don't ever feel bad. What are you talking about, Angel? Jesse really loves me. He just really loves me, really. He just loves to make me think he hates me. Jesse doesn't hate anybody. Jesse's got a good soul. Are you serious? You're missing out so bad. I love peaches too. Craft smooths. I don't think I've ever had that, Kent. Skippy, Jif are like my two favorite, or Peter Pan. Those three are my favorites, but Jif is my favorite. Good evening, Eminem. Mayhem and Miracles. Good to see you. Peanut butter and honey is not bad either. Wow, Fizzy, that's nuts. That's wild. Come on in. So I'm gonna tell you right now, because you're all gonna swear at me, scream and yell. I get it. I understand it. I'm expecting it. That well, here I'll just we're gonna run an interview of one of Amanda Kohberger's friends that speaks out, and unfortunately, Trashly Smashfield is the one that puts it out. So just punch me now. Oh, oh, oh. Okay. You can all scream at me. I get it. It's going to be hard to deal with, but we'll get through it. Jazz hands. Oh. Bagels with cream cheese. Bagels with lox and cream cheese. I love it. Bagels are amazing. I love bagels, period. I like bread too much. That's my problem, folks. That's why I'm fat. And I'm Italian and it goes with everything, you know? Spirit fingers. That's great. 71 peeps in the house. 59 likes. Come on, y'all. Let's see if we can make that match. But that's one thing we're reviewing is that interview with Smashley. And of course, an open discussion, but I guess nobody's going to discuss anything. So they're stressful. But this one is from Amanda's, one of Brian's sister's friends that claims that she knows the Kohbergers in general. And I'm hoping that it gives us a little insight into something positive. And from my understanding, I saw a little bit of it. It's funny because Ashley continuously tries to get this girl to say something negative, and it's hilarious. No need to be stressed out. We know where our thoughts are. We know where our hearts are with this situation. That's all that matters. It don't matter what other people think. Garlic bread, cheesy bread, sugar. Oh my god! See, me too, Fizz. I'm all about that stuff. Every bit of it. Donnie Darko, wild ass movie. That was weird. Really, CZ? I've never heard of that before. Come on in, guys. Smashly Trashfield. Hey, the Callie. Good to see you tonight, sis. Thanks for joining us. All the negative comments coming from WSU people who don't even know Brian Wright. Yeah. Yes. Very good point there, buddy. I thought she was going to bed, Jess. WB. Good to see you. Yeah, complete spoiled. Yes. With the blonde, yes, WB. Blonde, yeah, I remember that girl. I couldn't stand her. What recipes? I didn't say I didn't like your recipes, tomboy. Equal parts of peanut butter, Karo syrup, and powdered milk. Mix together, roll into logs. Put in the fridge for 2 to 3 hours. Cut into smaller logs. Space food sticks. Oh, I've seen those before. Those aren't bad. I need a fridge first. My refrigerator died again. And I told you guys when we got the last one, um, it was given to us. It was, which I get that. We've had it for what, a month, and it died. We have no fridge now. I don't know what the hell to do. I love French toast. Like you have no idea. Made with like a hard crusty bread. It's, oh my god, I love French toast. Ah, got you, buddy. Quit drinking wine. Then you won't have to go to bed so early. That's different sounding. That's awesome, CZ. I'm going to check that out. I wrote that down. Midnight, good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us. Me too. I've been craving French toast for like 3 months, folks. And I'm too lazy to go get it. So early. Oh, it is morning for you. Why are you going to bed? You're supposed to be getting up, dude. You've been up since noon yesterday. Well, see, there's the problem, dude. You don't sleep right. Why would you say that? I said hello to you, Mittens. You didn't hear me? Why would you say you've offended me? Did I miss something? French toast with brioche bread and turkey bacon. No, I didn't say anything about you offending me. What are you talking about? You've never been offensive. Hemisphere, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, no, you've never offended me at all. Real maples, yes. I live in an area where they sell that. This time of year they have the maple syrup festival or maple something festival. It's called. Good evening, Miss Cat Lady. No, believe me, I promise you, if anybody's ever offended me, you would know. Mittens, you've never been offensive ever, so that's crazy. No way. Yes, it's very good, Pagan. You are right. I love it that way. Yeah, it's really, really hard to offend me.
Where's my cigarettes?
Yes, Amish country, 100% simply. I live real close to that. They try to offend me sometimes, to be honest with you, and it just doesn't work. Mama Bear and a couple others can make me blush, but they can't offend me. Mama Bear specifically. Yeah, we absolutely love having you here, Mittens. We always have. Excuse me. I don't know why you would think that at all, unless you just didn't hear me say hello to you. Which some people have had that problem. They don't hear me because sometimes my mic cuts out or it just passes over and they didn't hear it. But Virginia Woolf. Yes. I'm the same way, dude. I really am. I know that sounds weird. I thought I was weird, but it's a thing. I'm very particular with my food when I eat it too. Just like cereal. If I'm eating cereal, depending on what kind it is, of course. I like it to be I hate soggy cereal. I think most people do. So I hurry up and eat it as fast as I can. I get it all. It's got to have milk covering all of it. I don't like that any other way. So I know it's weird. I've accidentally offended Dago once. I was arguing with somebody else. No, that doesn't offend me. It just upsets me when other people get upset. So it does not offensive, Angel. It's just that you, not you, but anybody. If anybody were to upset somebody else or somebody else thinks they're being attacked by somebody else, that's what upsets me. I I don't want anybody in here to ever feel attacked or sad or any of that, folks. Or unhappy here. Just like Mittens making that statement. That bothers me because there's no way you could ever offend me. You've been here for a long time, and I'm grateful that you're here all the time. It is. It's so gross. The only kind I like soggy, I'll be honest, there is one kind of cereal that I like semi-soggy. And that's Crackling Oat Bran. Because it's still good. It is a lot. It is a lot. Simply, you ain't lying. Hemisphere, good to see you tonight, brother. Just ate scrambled eggs and 2 cheeseburgers. Damn, that's an hell of a combo. I got hot Italian sausage and peppers, and I put it on a bun. I didn't put it over top of the pasta yet. I think the pasta, I tried to stay away from that. The pasta is a lot more filling and fattening than the bread is to me. So, yes, frosted mini wheats are okay a little bit when they're soggy, especially the blueberry or the strawberry ones. How do we get on food again? Now I'm craving donuts for some weird reason. God. Yeah, Crackling Oat Bran is one of the best cereals out there. So did Mittens really leave?
Yep.
Lasagna. Oh my God, I'm jealous, Sandy. Well, I hope she didn't. I had one of them days I felt annoyed. It was, oh, I got you, bud. Understood. Hotter donuts are like my favorite. I could eat the little ones. Yes, especially if they're fresh, Physioma, and it's in my coffee. Hey, yeah. That and the ones that have the coconut on them. I like those too. All right, we got 96 peeps in here. With 65 likes, we're catching up. Yeah, amen to that one. Even the plain donuts, guys. The plain ones that when we were kids, we're like, ew, I don't want those. They're plain. Those ones with coffee are probably my favorite. The sour cream glazed are, oh my God, you're killing me, Moonlit. You are killing me. Miss Charlene, welcome back. See, we got people popping in still. I don't understand why Mittens left. That's going to upset me now. I'm going to be all discombobulated throughout the entire stream. Right, Angel. I feel like I gained weight too. Coffee cake is one of my favorites too, Zakali. Love the coffee cake and coffee. I love stuff like that. Cinnamon rolls with, oh, CZ, stop it. Stop it. Stop it now. Lasagna with the crispy edges and tons of cheese. Yes. Debbie Ann, welcome back, dear. Good to see you. I don't understand why Mittens. That's going to bug the hell out of me. I haven't had zingers in years. I loved the raspberry ones simply with the coconut on them. Those were amazing. Jackie Bushabble, good to see you tonight. No, I seen it, Hemisphere. I appreciate that too, buddy. No, but I want those in a really bad way. Rach. That's why one of the reasons I want to go to Louisiana or New Orleans. Sorry. Yes, the blueberry cake donuts from White House Farms are amazing too. Well, what the hell? Joanne, good to see you. True Seeker, welcome back. BK's got 4 days left. That's right. What happened with Mittens? I don't understand that. I'm really bothered by that. That sounds great, Kat. It sounds great. That's one of my favorite things too. That and banana bread, yes. We still have them here, Cat Lady. I have perpetual donuts and coffee, folks. Thank you. Thanks to Tomboy. She made it for me. I think I've showed some of you guys. I know I have, but some of you newer people may not have seen it. She's very talented, and she does all sorts of crafting stuff. It's pretty neat. And my favorite donut in the world is right here. The maple cream sticks, we call them here, or whatever you guys call them in different places. And of course, the crullers right there. So she made that. And it sits on my desk with me. Looks like I spilled something on some coffee on it. I got to clean it off. 3-dimensional and all. It's pretty cool, folks. They look real. Every time I look at that, I want donuts because they look so real. And I love the maple. So I'm a maple anything. I love maple flavor. Yeah, she's really talented, you guys. And she's got tons of stuff she's made like that. So everybody, please, once again, welcome, Miss Paula. Oh, my foot. Please welcome Kat K to the crew and the team. And she's a moderator. Please be respectful of her as you would with any of the other mods. I appreciate that very much. And again, Kat, welcome to you. And I apologize for my voice, guys. It sounds like it's going in and out again. Yeah, she did great on that, Debbie. I really love that a lot. Sits right next to me. Never moves. Occasionally, because I'm a slob sometimes, my coffee, I have to wipe it off because I spill things. But it's sealed, so it doesn't ruin it. Joanne, yes, maple flavor. You know the little things? They're called. I think they're called maple nut goodies. They come from Brax. Makes them the little candies with the nuts inside. My God, I love those. Love those. You ever want to send me something? Send me a big bag of them. I love them. I'm not telling you to send it to me. I'm telling you, I love them. I was just making like a joke. Maine maple syrup blueberry. No, Allison, I've never even heard of that. That sounds amazing. Very much so. Well, I feel really, really kind of like nauseated now because of I don't understand what happened. That bothers me. I'm going to be all off now through this whole thing. No, bacon does not go on donuts. I agree with that one. Not even remotely close. I can't stand that. It's so gross to me. So does anybody in here besides being in here know mittens for kittens outside of here or maybe in other streams or something? If you see her, can you please find out like what happened? Because I'm completely lost. I was nowhere near close to upset with her or nothing, so I don't understand where that came from. I'm upset now because of that, because I don't understand it, but and then she said that she said I must have. She said she thought she must have upset me somehow and said goodnight. And I'm like, what? Not at all. So am I, Eddie. I didn't think I said anything that would make anybody feel that. And now I feel like really bad and I'm going to be all off kilt now because now I'm going to worry about it all the time because I don't like upsetting people. That's a big thing for me. No idea what I said. If I said hello to her like I do to everybody. I don't know. All right, guys, we got 109 of you beautiful people in the house with 110 likes. However that worked out, that's awesome. I appreciate you guys so much for joining us tonight. Like I said, we have a unfortunately an interview with Trashley Smashfield, or Smashley Trashfield, whatever you want to call her. Well, if she went over to watch Lana, that's all she had to say. She didn't have to say it like make me feel like I did something wrong. If that's what I didn't know Lana was live, but if she wanted to do that, she could have just done that. You know, one thing I don't like to do is upset people. That's a big thing for me. So I didn't know Lana was alive. If that's you wanted to go, if you'd rather go watch her than be here, that's understood. But just say that, you know, if that's the case, I'm okay with it. I wouldn't get angry or upset. It happens all the time. I don't know. I don't know that I don't see Lana live, but maybe I don't know. I don't know. It's just going to bother me now. That's all. Well, no, she said it to me. She said, um, I must have said something to upset Dago. Have a good night, and left. And I'm like, what? No. Hey, Wade Bird, good to see you. Yeah, Atlanta's not live. I don't see it. No, she postponed it, I think, to. It says up and coming, but I don't know. If that were the case, and again, for the future reference, if anybody were to ever want to go to another channel to watch them and I'm live, just tell me that, or you don't even have to just go. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I understand. Um, Completely understand. The worst thing you can do is tell me I've upset you and then not tell me how. 'Cause I don't like to do that. So I want to fix, if there's something I've done, I want to fix that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know, Angel. It happens a lot. That's why I don't like chatting as much as like talking like this. That's why I like people coming up here and expressing their voices because there's no emotion when you're typing or in chat, you know, and I think that's important. All right, guys, I guess we're going to get kicking here. We got 121 peeps in the house. I think everybody's in the house now. 94 likes. No, I get that one, Hemisphere. Go Ye 61, welcome back. Good to see you tonight. It was great to see you. All right, let me pull this up here. Once again, I'm apologizing ahead of time for this, but I really want to see the interview per se. Hell, I got to prepare myself to deal with her. Thank you so much, Jackie. God bless for the super sticker. You are amazing. I appreciate that so very much for the generosity. Um, and again, never ever expected, but always appreciated. Thank you so much. Oh, I understand simply. I've seen it. It happens. Okay. Thank you again so much for that, Jackie. That's amazing. I appreciate that so very much. All right, we're gonna start here tonight with this. Tomboys in the house. Steve, welcome back, my friend. Good to see you tonight. All right. Grit your teeth. Hang on to your chair. Here we go.
And this is Drop Dead Serious. Today's episode is all about some pictures. So if you're listening on the podcast, I recommend you go to YouTube and take a look at the pictures because some photos of Brian Kohberger as a teenager have surfaced on.
Thank you, Lucy. Did you get a response as to what happened? Because I don't understand it. If you did, let me know, please. Yeah, grit your teeth and hold on to your chair, folks. This is rough.
Reddit. And I have spoken with sources who went to school with him who say that's him. That's it. They're legit. What a difference a decade and a half can make. He is literally double the person that he is now back in high school, meaning he's probably lost half of his weight and become
She's so judgmental. Welcome back, SRBBB. Good to see you.
that much thinner that you wouldn't recognize him. And with all that weight loss, something else must have happened because the personality that you're about to hear from one of his schoolmates from back in the day and the description that she gives of who he was back then compared to what we know of him now is night and day. It is not the same person. Something happened either with his heroin use, something happened with his weight loss, something happened, you know, as he processed his life from high school and through college. Um, but is he is definitely a transformed, different person altogether than
Or or because you're an idiot, or nothing happened and he's not the person you think he is because you're making judgment based on lies. So remember that too, there, Trashley.
who he was and what his high school mates remember him as and knew him as back then. So it's kind of crazy. I do this other show called On Patrol Live. I fill in for Dan Abrams, and one of the staff members on the show, as I was filling in last weekend, came up to me and said, "It's good to see you again." Her name's Mandy, and she said, "I don't know if I ever told you this, but I went to school with Brian Kohberger." To which I caught my breath, brought my jaw back up off the floor, and said, "Mandy, you need to talk to me on Drop Dead Serious," and she agreed.
Welcome, Circus. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight.
And
Of course,
on the
Daddy.
day that we are talking, these photos have surfaced. So it's sort of great kismet that we can talk about these photos, what she remembers of this kid, because they are definitely the kid she went to school with, and all of the things since. What it was like to hear this news, to hear that name, to know that you're connected. Your school is connected, your town is connected, your friends are connected. And then to sort of think back to the guy she knew compared to the guy she's
Welcome,
learning
keep it
about
real.
now, this horrific serial killing monster, spree killing, however you want to refer to him. And processing all of that. And it's sort of a fascinating road that we haven't explored a lot. Because look, I'm going to say right now, um, all of the sympathies go to the families of the four kids who were lost, right? The Mogans, the Gonzalveses, the Kernodals, and the Chapins. They are suffering the worst in all of this. There are the surviving roommates. They are suffering. Their families are suffering. And there are the Kohbergers. Like everybody wants to vilify them, but
Welcome,
you've got to remember
Alligator.
who they are in all of this. They didn't do this. They're not the killer. This guy did it on his own. He was a grown ass adult, 30 years old now, 28 when the killings happened. And yet, there is this association that for some reason the internet wants to give the Kohbergers like they're somehow complicit. They are not. And so it is interesting to plumb the reactions, the ripple effects, the effects on this family. And by extension, the old friends, the high school friends, even the kids who just knew him, knew of him, the school itself, the town. Anyway, that's where I'm going with this episode today in talking with Mandy about who he was back then and how she's processing all of this with her friends. I want to be totally honest with you. This is a moving day for me. So I wasn't planning on doing a podcast, but when these photos emerged, I thought about my conversation with Mandy, and I thought this is the day that we need to have this conversation and do this podcast and talk about all the things, all the feels, everything that she and her community went through, knowing the guy back then versus the guy now. And so I'm doing this podcast today, but I also just want to tell you it's important for me to connect with you in our true crime community in as timely a fashion as possible. I could have done it next week, sure, but these photos are out now, and so it's important to me to connect with you guys when things are happening. And I'm really appreciative of you. I have said it a million times, like a broken record. I can't do this without you, with the viewers and the listeners. And so when I say thank you, I mean it. And I also can't do this without my sponsors. They make all of these things happen. And Shapewear has really helped me as I, do all my on-camera stuff. And I just connected with Honey Love, started wearing their stuff, and it's fantastic. I started with something called the crossover bra. It's wireless, but somehow it's still supportive, like a hug that kind of knows what it's doing. And so I wear it under these shirts. I wear it under my dresses. I wear it under anything.
Oh my God, you guys. Guys, should I get a sponsor that about with bras? What the hell?
Love.com/Banfield. Now, back to the episode. Mandy, this is so weird because we're work colleagues.
All right, here we go.
You and I see each other a couple times a year, and you shocked me the other day when you said, I went to school with him. What? So I couldn't wait to talk to you on this podcast, and we have a really great community in the Drop Dead Serious, podcast world, and I know that they'd want to hear all of your thoughts about knowing one of the most frightening serial killers, well, I guess you could call him a spree killer, but of all time, what it was like to find out about this, what your thoughts were, what your friends' thoughts were, how you guys all reconnected over this. Not only that, but comparing the person that you've been hearing about now with the person that you knew, back in high school. So let's just start with the pictures themselves and go over these pictures and what they kind of invoke for you, because I think this is kind of the first time that you're really seeing them, like all within the last couple of minutes. So let's pop the first picture up in the series of shots. Does this invoke
Way too late.
anything? I mean, when I looked at this, it gave me the chills because I only know the Kohberger of recent, and I can't get over those eyes. But what does this photo speak to you?
That one kind of seems like he's sad.
Is that the person you knew? Did you ever get the feeling in high school that that quiet kid was a sad kid?
It was always, again, he was younger than me. So it was more so I spent more time with his sister. And he was always just so quiet. We never got the sense that there was something wrong. Sometimes when things like this happen and people come out and they say, oh, he was quiet, but yeah, that kind of makes sense because he did this, this, and this. We didn't have that. Like we grew up in a community where everybody knew everybody. And when this came out, it was very shocking to a lot of us. It was very like, wait, what? It wasn't a
Understand something that based on things Willie's seen and heard and other people in that community, and most of them, quite a few people don't believe this. Okay, so understand that.
Oh, that kind of makes sense for us.
And if you watch this interview, you'll notice how Trashley is repeatedly trying to pull something negative out of this girl. It's really kind of sad.
Did you immediately, upon hearing the name Brian Kohberger is the one arrested for the horrendous quadruple murder in Idaho, everybody in Idaho in the community there was saying, who? He's not connected to us. Did you suddenly call old friends or old connections from high school and just sort of connect with them to say, what the actual F?
Yes, we did. There were some friends that I reached out to immediately and said, "Oh my God, did you hear what happened? Did you reach out to so and so? What happened?" And yes, the group change started immediately because again, we do come from such a small town. So everybody who knows everybody, it's a small town where everybody shares the same last name. I shouldn't say that. Hold on, let me not
Well,
say.
close enough, right? No, no, that's okay. That's
but,
okay.
but yes, we do come from such a small town where everybody knows everybody. So it was very shocking when we did hear Kohberger. It was instantly. I said, "Oh my God, I went to high school with the Kohbergers. Amanda was in my graduating class." So it was
It
very,
does
very
great.
shocking to all of us. Yes, for sure.
What did everyone say? Like, what was the basics of the conversations that you suddenly were all having? And this was like December 30th.
Everybody was shocked. There was no inkling of, yeah, like I said, there was no, that makes sense.
There was no thought that, well, we all knew he was going to be
Right.
in the news in some way.
Right. There was no thought that any of us would have ever imagined that something like this would have went down. No.
See, Ashley wants her to say, "Oh, we knew this was going to happen." Blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. Sorry, Smashley. Hey, Julie, good to see you.
Did you try to reach out to Amanda, his sister? Did you try to reach out to the family members that you went to school with?
I have not. No. I have personal friends who are personal friends with the families. And that's
They
all.
must have gone through the most unimaginable hell. I mean, they're sort of the forgotten victims in all of this, the Kohberger family. They did not do this. They did nothing. They were not complicit in this. This is Brian Kohberger's doing. This is his monstrous mind at work. This was his monstrous hands at work. This was not his two sisters. This was not his parents. And
See, if you watch this, Amanda or Mandy, she's not shaking her head to agree with Ashley when she says these things. It's funny. After she says it, she'll nod her head, but not when she's saying it. I think that's funny.
and they really suffered.
They did. And my heart goes out to Amanda and his family. And, you know,
No, this is not Amanda. The picture they showed earlier of the girl that looks just like Brian, in my opinion, it was Amanda. This is a friend of hers from school. She went to school with this girl. Amanda did.
it's very, very hard. It's, the Kohbergers are left with.
That was Amanda. They all have the same. Her, Amanda. Hold on. Amanda, Brian, and oh my God, I just said her name. His other sister. They all have the same eyes. Okay, if you look at them, you cannot. There's no way you'll mistake that that's a Kohberger right there. Okay, it's very easy to see it, in my opinion. Yeah, personal friend Melissa. Thank you, SRB. Personal friends with personal friends, right?
Kohbergers are left with the aftermath of what he did. Like, his poor family now has to deal with everything that he did.
What are they like, the Kohbergers?
Amanda was a sweet, sweet girl growing up. She was wonderful. She has a great personality. She's wonderful. So it's a shame that she's being drugged through the mud the way that she is. She does not deserve it at all.
She lost her job, right? She and her sister both were fired so quickly.
From what I understand, and it's very unfortunate. She does not deserve what's happening to her and her sister, and I wish them nothing but the best. I hope that they can move past what's happening to them. It's very unfortunate.
I want to go back to some of these pictures from high school. I had seen a couple pictures before, so I knew he was heavier, and looks like he's a lot heavier. He looks like he's half the size that he used to be. But this is the guy you went to school with. Like, this is the image. This is the person you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it invoke any kind of memory, or does it just sort of leave you flat?
it just sort of leaves me flat, to be honest, because again, there was never any, he never had anything towards women or anything towards.
And that's exactly what it is right there, Rach. It's not, and make sure you're hearing what she's saying. This is going to piss Ashley off, I'm sure, but if they didn't lose their jobs because of Brian. They lost their jobs because of what people said and did about Brian, like people like Trashley here. Just remember that.
Towards anybody. He was just very to himself. He was very quiet. So
that's what fascinates me, because the person that we are getting to know, as opposed to the person here, from 15 or so years ago, is skinny, angry, rude, misogynistic, and is belligerent, like wants to be out front in class, wants to lecture everybody. Certainly not a quiet guy. So what do you make of that?
I really don't know. I really don't know. It's again, it was shocking. It was shocking to all of us. It's shocking now. It's
Makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. It
So
really.
in high school, you never got an inkling that he wouldn't look at girls or didn't like girls, or used to talk amongst a group of kids that, they were like, well, for lack of a better term, we now call them incels, but might have been the group of incels. It wasn't like that.
No.
It feels like, from your description of him, he just was that guy that faded into the woodwork.
Yeah. And he I know I just keep saying it, and I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record. He really was just the quiet kid who just, when he graduated high school, he became the excuse me, when he graduated high school, he became the security guard at the high school for a little bit there. And he stayed in the town, and that's what a lot of people do in that town is they graduate high school and they stay there. And we just thought he was just
Just kind of a
tappy.
non-memorable, homogenous kind of nondescript fella.
Yeah.
So thinking
Nothing
about
wrong with that.
who we've come to know, this personality that's just so off-putting, right? We've heard that he would skip or be late to female professors' classes, but not male professors. He would dress down female students. He would cause many of them to cry. And he caused professors to meet about him, to say he's going to be a danger if we give him a PhD. It just sounds like it's 100% transformation from the kid you went to school with.
It is. That's why it's so shocking to all of us who come from this small town that where
He
did
ended up that way.
where did this come where did this come from? Where did this come from? And
So once again, I'm going to make a statement that I've made before. This is not something that happens overnight. This is not something that happens in 6 months, a year, 3 years. This is something that would have been seen then. Okay. You would have seen the signs of something like this then. There's no way. And they won't accept that. Okay. Ashley, people like her won't accept it. This girl is not playing into what she's saying because she knows that that's not true. I'm hearing, you can hear she's being she's not putting what Ashley wants her to put out as much as she wants her to. That's a good way to put it, Hemisphere. Listen to Banfield's like trying to listen to the devil tell the Bible to the Pope. Amen.
I know that it's so cliche to say, things like this don't happen in these small towns, but it really it really took us all by storm. The people that I talked to, the circle that I'm in, we were all very, very shocked.
Did you start thinking about it? Like, when you heard all these details, because clearly you're pretty connected to the story, so you followed the headlines, maybe more than most, right?
Mm-hmm.
But did you start thinking back, what did I miss? Were there red flags? Did you go over your whole map of your mind from high school thinking, Where might this have all had its genesis? Like, what was your thought process?
I think at first I remember going through and seeing where he was in high school, saying, because I remember, again, because we all grew up in, it was such a small town, and he was younger than me, so he was more closer to my sister's age. But Amanda was in my class. It was just it was just so crazy. It really was, like, because it was just so great. It was just, I know I just keep repeating myself because it,
The way that she keeps saying that and the way that they keep it tells me I don't that's why I feel truly comfortable. Just like Willie said, he's not that guy. He's not that guy. He's not. I think this helps to prove it.
really was just so crazy to see such a big headline, and then to see your high school on CNN, because that's really what happened. We literally, it was breaking news, and my high school picture, a picture of my high school popped up on CNN, and I was like, what is going on? So it's just,
Did you search your mind like constantly? Like, what did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss back then?
I think we all did. I think we all at one point said, what could we have all not seen? But none of us missed anything. Obviously, we all missed something. But
none of you, even in all your chat sessions and your communications after his arrest, you couldn't come up with anything that made sense.
no, we can't.
Because it doesn't, Ashley. Get it and understand it. Take a hint and shut up.
It's so bizarre, because again, he was quiet and he was nice. His sister was great. His sister is great. She's, there's, it's bizarre. It's very bizarre.
Mandy, knowing what we know now about Brian Kohberger, there's some thought that he may have been bullied in school. Does that make sense? Just knowing your high school culture, that he might have been, relentlessly bullied. Maybe that triggered him.
Bullying at my high school, unfortunately, was a problem. I'm not going to pretend that it wasn't. Bullying is a problem in today's culture and was back then. So I wouldn't put it past that could have been a problem for him.
Did you ever hear of anything that related to him? Groups that didn't like him?
Specifically, no. But again, like I keep saying, he was very, very quiet. But that could have attributed to him being very quiet, that he was bullied.
And it wouldn't surprise you, knowing the culture of your high school back then and the classes back then, that could have been happening to him?
It would not surprise me, no.
Yeah. And I don't give a pass to anybody, trust me, on I was bullied, therefore I murdered 4 innocent kids in their bed. Like, bullshit. But
No, absolutely
we're
not.
just
No
all
pass.
grabbing at any sip of a straw that we can to figure out what turns someone from the quiet kid, a little overweight with his backpack and his satin shorts, into one of the most infamous American killers of all time.
Yeah. Bullying was a problem for sure in my high school.
But who knows if it affected him?
That much it's hard to
Yeah.
say.
What did you think when you saw Amanda and her mom in court behind Brian Kohberger for his sentencing?
I think it took a lot of strength for the two of them to do what they did. I think, what do you do in that situation? To be completely honest, I think about so many things. If they probably were there to not only support their own family member who they are now losing. People do forget that even though he committed these heinous, horrible crimes, they are still losing a family member. So they are there for their family member, but they're also there for the victims. I believe that they were there to support the victims as well. So I think it took tremendous courage for the two of them to be there, and I think that they they should be commended for being there. I think that the pushback that they got for being there was very, very harsh.
Nobody's ever walked in
Um,
those shoes, and then they feel like they're experts and they can be trolls online. You cannot
yeah,
imagine what it's like to hear
no,
news that just came out of nowhere. Oh, by the way, you're never going to have this one back for Christmas. You're never going to. It's not just that. It would be easier if he was dead.
sometimes it's, sometimes that's the easier route. Like,
Wow. You are truly trash. Truly, truly, truly trash. Listen to that again.
It's not just that. It would be easier if he was dead.
sometimes it's, sometimes that's the easier route. Like, that they're never coming. Like, it's,
And the
I,
stigma and the
I,
horror that he's there, and the probably the guilt that his parents and his sisters will go through. Like, do I have to get on a plane for 6 hours to go have a horrible visit behind glass, once every how often? Don't know, with my brother, my son, my child. Like, just imagine the pressure on them and the guilt that they'll go through as well. Um,
yeah, nobody
it's hard
wins.
having these
Nobody
conversations, by
wins.
the way, because all of my conversations have been about the victims and the family members, because the trauma they're going through is like nothing that anyone will go through. It's just
Of
it's
course.
just this is yet another piece that very few people talk about.
Yeah, nobody understands, because of course the victims' traumas are what the victims go through, and the victims' families, we will never comprehend, we will never understand. Absolutely not. But I think it's worth noting that the that
Welcome, Tea Time, like your name. There have been times that I've liked Nancy for different things, not on this case. Um, but these people have gone nuts with the things that they say. It's gone to an extremely insane level.
Brian Kohberger's family also lost a son, also lost a brother, also lost somebody. Like Amanda and her mother will never, like, they did lose somebody. I'm not saying that they're suffering in the same way by any means
No, I
necessary,
understand what
but
you're saying.
they're
I think they also, yes, they've lost that guy. Of course, they can visit him in a prison, but they've got the added horror and humiliation of being associated, like how people feel they're somehow complicit or they're somehow a part of this awfulness, like this. Like, you went to school with the
right.
guy, big, no one's ever going to associate you with his horrible actions, but they do
Right.
associate his family.
Right. Now for the rest of their lives, they're associated with that. This poor girl lost her job. Like, come
And
on.
has that name.
It's
She's got that
Yeah.
name.
So I think that, he and
And you have your name, Ashley. So once again, I don't know why this woman thinks she's so much better than this is insane. I knew this was going to be rough, but again, I'm proving a point here again. It's funny though, because she's not getting what she wants out of this interview. If you guys haven't noticed, she's truly not getting what she wants out of this. And I'm kind of enjoying that. I'll be honest with you. I truly am.
looks just like him. Looks just like him. Like, spitting image. I mean,
Hard.
it's got to be very, very hard. I mean, I commend her for handling it with such grace. For for handling it as well as she is, and
I
for
agree.
not
I'm
letting the internet consume her the way I would let it consume me, if we're being completely honest.
I
But
don't know how
it's
I'd
got to be
there's no blueprint. right? There's no blueprint.
No, there is no
There's
blueprint.
no blueprint for the Gonzalez family, for the Chapin family, for the Mogan family, for the Kernodle family. There's no blueprint for them to process this bizarre thing that landed like an atom bomb in their life, in their world, in their love. There's no blueprint for it. And there's less of a blueprint for the other side of it because there's less attention given to people like the Kohbergers, you know. And then there are the trolls. It's new. It's a new layer.
You're a troll yourself there, Trash. And don't apologize for snark, Jen. Put it all out there, please. This is one for she's really become quite ballsy, truly.
In the last decade, that's really, you know, evolved, sadly, that there's a troll environment that will attack families of the victims, believe it or not, families of the 4 kids, and family members of Brian Kohberger.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
You're such a sweetheart for talking to me, and I look forward to seeing you again at the office. But
I look forward to seeing you, Ashley. Thank you so much for having me.
I really
Whatever. And I can almost promise you, I can almost bet that before this happened, that they spoke and she said, now, we can't have any positive conversations, okay? You can't say he was a nice guy. You can't say this. You can't say that. Just to give you a heads up. And that's why this was such a short interview. Truly, in my opinion. And that's why the girl was kind of like nodding and like agreeing to keep her happy, in my opinion. It was a joke. She did not get what she wanted out of that interview. And I'm kind of grateful. I think it's funny. Let's see. And there's people coming out all over the place. One of his professors, that one, we're not watching that because I watched a piece of it and it pissed me off to no end. So we will not review that together because I'll be swearing left and right. Let me see here. Hold on a minute here. They won't let these people say. That's why I couldn't interview Casey, because it already happened when she was interviewed by the news outlets. They wouldn't allow her. They cut anything she said that was positive. And that's exactly what Ashley, I'm surprised she allowed what she allowed. There was probably more that they did cut out. One minute. A lot of it is that tea time. I agree. Let's see. I was going to keep this one. We're not done, folks. I'm just saying I was going to keep this one shorter than normal tonight. There was a few things I wanted to, since nobody wanted to pop up here tonight. I understand. That's fine. For the open discussion side of it, there's a few things I was going to review with you guys as well. Still. Oh, yes, here we go. Now, yesterday, really good interview, or not interview, but kind of a interesting live stream that was put on. Andrew Myers comes in here all the time. I respect him quite a bit. I'm I'm grateful when I see him come in here and some of the things that he says. He did a show. Hold on a minute here, you guys. last night. And he brought, if you guys are familiar with another channel called Unfiltered Lucky, he's done live with AR a few times. It was an interesting combo. And Andrew, I wanted to review that with you guys. That was the next piece I had up for this because I thought this was real interesting. And it'll bring some hope to a lot of you guys, I think, too. So that was the next thing I wanted to jump into. And again, I want everybody, if you have not yet gone over and subscribed to Andrew Myers, please do. And show every bit of support you can. Tell him Dago sent you. He will know and definitely will appreciate it. So check this out, guys. This is a really, really good show. And the things that he says, this is a hopeful situation here at this point, listening to this.
Going to ask me. It has now been about 2 months since Brian Kohberger pleaded guilty to the crimes of November 13th, 2022. But it seems like despite that plea, more and more questions are being raised. I'm attorney Andrew Myers. This is my podcast about the law. Lucky, Unfiltered Lucky, a great podcaster, invited me onto his show to try and get to the bottom of some of the materials that have been released. He asked me a lot of questions, and I had a lot of questions for him. I mean, what was this document that indicated that either Xana or Kaylee ran up the stairs and the perpetrator was already upstairs? What about a barking dog that was barking for about 45 minutes, and this was discovered around 4:45 in the night, 4:45 a.m., the night of November 13th, 2022? And what about Dylan standing out in the middle of the street? And I know my commenters have said, take it easy on Dylan. Don't be mean. She just went through something and she's just a kid. Well, Lucky and I are going to discuss that and other questions. So Lucky invited me onto his channel and we discussed all of this. So here is our discussion that we had.
Hey everyone, it's Lucky with Unfiltered Lucky. And today I'm here with my friend Andrew Myers, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Idaho 4 case. How are you doing today, Andrew?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Just kind of reading documents, watching interviews, looking at crime scene photos and body cam footage.
Yeah, I went through all of the reports. You said you wanted to focus a little bit on the reports in this episode. And so I went through as many of them as I could. Some of them are just, perfunctory stuff, but I went through them all again. And I thought,
guys, if we can drop, I dropped Andrew's link in here. If you can throw Lucky's link in here too, please and thank you. I agree with Rose. He's always no nonsense, stick to the facts, and he does use a lot of common sense. I respect him as well. And I like him. I like Lucky. I like his personality. So drop his link in here, guys. Go check out both of these channels, both of these creators. Please show some love and respect. Like I said, to tell them that I sent you over there to support and to show the love. So please and thank you. Hey, Dustin, good to see you, buddy.
Initially, when the reports came out, I'd read them all. It's 556 pages. I'd read them all, and then I'd write a narrative. But there is no narrative. They're here, they're there, they're all over the place. And, there's so many different things that have happened. There's so many different things.
Yeah, and I'm going to stop and start through this, guys, because there's some really interesting talking points here. Thank you, SRB. There's Lucky's link, guys. Please go check him out. Truly, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe if you haven't over there. You don't want to miss what he's been talking about with it. It's very good stuff, folks. It really is. Thank you, Tandy, for that as well. And of course, Andrew Myers, we all know who he is. And I dropped his link right there. Please go check that out as well. Very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. The stuff that they do.
And unanswered questions that I couldn't write a narrative. All I could do was come up with some notes. That's all.
I think we're in the same boat. I feel like trying to make sense out of this, and wrap your head around it, it's kind of crazy,
It is, and just left more questions than answers in my mind. I mean, just some of the crazy things that happened in Moscow, Idaho. Is this typical of a college town that there are people that run around with knives and try and pick up girls in bars and threaten them if they say no, as we saw in some of the reports? I mean, is that what happens in a college town? I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. I mean, it's a small town, but so I want to start off by talking a little bit about the PCA, because we all saw Bill Thompson standing at the podium. He was holding the PCA and he said, spread this far and wide, because this is what happened in this case, and now I feel like as we're seeing more information come out, as we're seeing the body cam footage and the crime scene photos and all of the documents that are coming out, I kind of feel like it's I kind of feel like it's a different story than we heard in the PCA, and I feel like a lot of those details don't seem the same.
Sounds good,
How do you
Phil.
feel about that?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, we heard about this frozen shock phase, and I don't want it to be too hard on Dylan. No matter what I say about Dylan, I get nasty comments, so I don't want to bring my nasty comments to you.
Right.
But I
Right.
mean, this frozen shock phase was obviously a construct, to put it nicely, of the prosecutors. We now know that Dylan was quite awake. We know that she was texting back and forth. We learned that earlier this year when the text went public. She ran downstairs. She was up with Bethany much of the night. There's a question as to whether Bethany was there all night, but be that as
Welcome,
it may.
Gene.
So yeah, a lot of the PCA, I mean, even Bill Thompson himself at some point said the PCA is irrelevant at this point. And so was he preparing us for all these discrepancies between the probable cause affidavit and what actually came out in the videos and the police reports?
Right. And I agree with what you're saying about Dylan. It's hard because I don't, when I'm making my videos, I definitely do not want to attack Dylan. I don't want to, I don't want to do that, but it makes it very difficult because a lot of the confusion that's happening here involves Dylan. And so, in order to talk about it, unfortunately, we have to talk about Dylan. And I agree with the frozen shock phase. I mean, now I feel like, we know that there was no frozen shock phase. And to me, it makes it a little bit more confusing as to why it took so long to call law enforcement. I mean, because now I feel like in the beginning, we were led to believe that everyone was asleep. They were all sound asleep in this house, and this attacker crept in the middle of the night and ambushed them and took their lives while they were sleeping. And now what we're kind of hearing is that there was a lot going on in the house. There was music, and there was dancing, and there was food being delivered, and people running up and down the stairs screaming. And
Welcome, Cracked Pot says, I would like to see about 60 creators to do a mashup. Birdie, Lucky, Harsh Reality, Dago, Jules, Jay Embry, Devil's Advocate. Wow, that would be wild for sure. That would be wild. I would definitely be down for it, Crackpot. I don't mind working with others. In fact, I enjoy it. I think if we all work together in this, there's more of an opportunity for us to come to some kind of an understanding of truth in this, possibly, if we were to do that. I mean, a lot of us do. I'm a commentating channel. Jules is a reacting channel. Okay. For that matter. Yeah, Kent, you're more than welcome to join, buddy. There's a link over here for you. Pop on up here. And we all do it different ways. AR is an advising channel, as I call it. He puts out advice on different things and how things should be and are. Harsh is just Harsh. He does what he does. He puts his opinion out, and that's what it is. Pav, we know how Pav does. He does a lot of research work and stuff like that. And Devil's Advocate does stuff like that too. So, and I would love to have Casper as well and Outcast. I think it'd be an amazing. What's up, Legendary? Good to see you. Amazing show. But I'm down for any of that kind of stuff, guys. I would always be. Anybody that would be, let me know. I'll be there. Just saying.
And and then Dylan sees the attacker, and then still no call to law enforcement.
And don't forget the wildly barking dog. There was a dog. There was a neighbor that was sleeping and was awakened at 4:45, I believe it was, and
Right.
heard this dog barking wildly. And the dog barked for like 45 minutes. And the times
For whatever reason, legendary, I kind of believe you on that one. I do.
the time scale is a little bit difficult to follow, but the dog would have been barking from maybe 4:10 until about 4:50, 4:55. And if the dog was outside at that time, if the dog was outside, who brought Murphy back inside, who took Murphy all the way up to the third floor? And they certainly would have, at that time, 4:45, 4:50, 4:55, according to the law enforcement timeline, they would have seen everything. So who was it that brought Murphy in? Was it Dylan? Was it Bethany? Was it some third party
Welcome,
that we
JC.
don't know about? And what would they have seen? I mean, these Idaho State Police reports, with all deference to law enforcement, I'm not going to paint with a broad brush and disparage law enforcement. I have
Right.
law enforcement in my extended family. I've represented law enforcement over the years in my 30 plus years career. I
Right.
know law enforcement, but this makes no sense. It totally invalidates the probable cause affidavit.
I agree 100%. And I think that's one of the things that's so confusing, because I feel like, maybe that's
Miss Bianca, there you are, my dear. I hope you're doing wonderful. We got to figure out the Discord thing, hon. Truly, I tried to talk to you in there a couple times and I can't do it. I'd like to pull some more of your music out and share it with people. She does amazing things, guys. Please make sure you drop Bianca's link in here and share out her channel, please, and go over there, support and subscribe, and hit the notification bell on her if you can, please, and thank you, folks. I really appreciate that. Miss Bianca is such a sweet and talented person, and I really appreciate when she's here. So we got to figure that out, Bianca, so we can communicate outside of YouTube, because I don't know what's going on over there. It's weird. Either way, let's get it worked out. And thank you for joining us tonight, Bianca. I love you. Appreciate you very much. Hemisphere, I tried to pull you up. It said you weren't connected. Make sure everything's connected, and that way I can yank you out, buddy.
the reason that this gag order was so strict, is because maybe the information that we're learning now might not have supported what the prosecution is telling us happened. So I feel like, maybe that's why the gag order was so strict, because the information that we're hearing now.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, Hemisphere, it's saying they will need to connect their mic at cam before you can add them to the stream. It won't let me pull you up. I don't know. Check your microphone and your camera, bud, and see if that something's not hooked up right or something. Thank you, guys. There's Bianca's link right there. Please jump on over, support, and show some love. Hit the notification bell and subscribe if you haven't. I promise you'll be more than happy with that. Thank you so very much. And again, Bianca, thanks for being here tonight, hon. Candy Girl, good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us.
Now doesn't really make a lot of sense. We're hearing
Welcome,
Dylan
Mary.
in the body cam footage, in her initial statement to law enforcement, say that, that Kaylee ran upstairs and that she saw someone and she screamed and then ran back downstairs. And then, my question is, how did she get back upstairs and get in bed with Maddie if she saw someone and ran back downstairs screaming?
That was earth shaking. I hate the word, bombshell. I hate that word, but that was earth shaking.
Welcome to
They were
David
downstairs playing
Dwight.
beer
Welcome,
pong
my
or
friend. Good to have
watching
you
the
tonight.
movie, and then she ran up the stairs. Yeah, that totally contradicts the probable cause affidavit. And
Welcome,
so
Mary.
if Dylan made those observations, why didn't we hear about? Here's how I feel about the gag order. The gag order created this cloud of mystery over the whole case, causing a
agree.
lot of people to go down into tunnels or to, misconstrue what was said in the probable cause affidavit, or to, they themselves, track this blurry, fuzzy wuzzy was a car.
Right.
Early on in the 6 weeks between November 13th of 2022 and then the end of December, when they actually caught Mr. Kohberger in Allwrightsville, Pennsylvania, the police were talking. They did hold press conferences. The Brian Entons of the world were staked out there, and the Idaho press was staked out there. And law enforcement was giving press conferences daily. It's my feeling that they should have made one or two more press conferences after Mr. Kohberger was brought in and told the public what they knew, because it seems like they kind of threw that probable cause affidavit together fairly quickly, and it would have been nice for the public to know exactly what was going on. Not having done that, all this wild speculation occurred, and I don't think they helped themselves. I really don't, and I'll say that because I'm not in Idaho, and I'm not going to run into them face to face. As there's some good journalists out there in Idaho, but they have to be careful what they say. They really have to be careful what they say, because the law enforcement feeds them, and they need them for the next story, because the next story could be anything, and they're waiting for it.
Right. In my opinion, it just, as I'm watching this body cam footage, and I feel like the investigators and the prosecution are still hanging on, because I feel as though, law enforcement and the prosecution are still saying that they believe that Xana heard something in the kitchen when she got her food from the DoorDash, and that she went upstairs to investigate what it was, and that she's the one that came down the stairs. And so it seemed kind of contradictory to what Dylan said in her initial statement about Kaylee running up the stairs and then running back down the stairs. And I was kind of confused, because when I was watching this body cam footage, I was kind of waiting for this officer to ask Dylan, where did Kaylee go after she ran downstairs? Like, where did she go after that? Because somehow she ended up back upstairs in Maddie's bed.
And there's a lot of confusion over Murphy the dog. Like I said before, I mean, was she running up and down the stairs to get Murphy the dog in, or to put Murphy the dog out? And you're right, what you said before, that whoever it was that ran up the stairs, that totally contradicts the PCA that pretty much everybody was sleeping at that time. No, somebody was running up and down the stairs, and the perpetrator, whoever it was, and I get in trouble for saying that, but I'll say it again, the perpetrator, whoever it was likely already there. Now, the body cam video showed a really clean house. It showed a really clean house, and the statements that had been made before led us all to believe that a real fight had taken place before, and that there was a real bloodbath in there. And so I had a hard time reconciling my image, and maybe it's just me, but I had a hard time reconciling my image with just the clean walls that were shown in the body cam video. Now, sure enough, they used black rectangles to block stuff out, but still, for example, I think you pointed it out in one of your episodes that the table had all those cups, the solo cups, all in perfect order for another beer. Like, they'd set it up to do another beer pong game, and then they went to bed. Well, if people are running around up and down the stairs and scurrying around, and somebody has a knife, those tables are really flimsy. We were in transition from our old studio to our new studio, and we actually used tables similar to that for 2 or 3 episodes. Lucky you couldn't even write without the whole table shaking and the camera going. So we got rid of them right away. Those are really flimsy tables, so that made no sense. It should have been on its side.
I mean, it was. I looked it up. That table weighed 36 pounds, and I mean, a red Solo cup doesn't weigh anything. So when you watch the body cam footage, one thing that I noticed first of all is when the first officer gets there and he goes back into the house with Hunter Johnson. When they go back to Xana's room and they're coming back out, both of them have to turn sideways to get past that table. I mean, there's no way they can walk straight through that opening.
No, that would be on its, and I wasn't there, I don't know, but I mean, I'm speculating that, police don't walk tippy-toe like a ballerina. They're in and out, they see what they see, and they're like, oh my God, we got to get out of here. And they're like, they don't care if they knock over a little table like that, or the solo cups. So it just really inures to the benefit of those who feel that there was a cleanup in those 8 hours. There's no logical explanation. You tell me, because you're way on top of the facts. I try to stay on top of the law. I've read as much as I can, But
Right.
you tell me, to this date, with all that's come out, the Moscow police reports, the state police reports, everything else, Bill Taylor has done interviews. You tell me, has that 8-hour delay been explained by anyone anywhere?
No, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that I think about. Again, it's not, people say don't attack Dylan, don't attack Dylan. And this is not an attack on Dylan, but it doesn't make sense that, we know that she heard a lot more than we were initially, told.
Right.
Like you said, they made it sound as though everyone was asleep peacefully and this guy just ambushed them in their sleep. But now we know that all of this stuff was going on. There was, yelling and screaming and food being delivered, and she was obviously terrified. I mean, she locked her door, so she obviously felt as though she may be in danger. She ran down to Bethany's bedroom, and I understand that part of it, but how do you at no time not think, well, maybe we should call for help just in case? I don't think that 8 hours has ever been explained, and that's something that I've been waiting for.
No, me too. And it just leaves us all to speculate. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think rugs had a lot to do with it. I think they were cleaning up rugs. Why were
Yeah.
there so many people standing around outside?
Right.
There's really no other explanation. There's no other explanation to my satisfaction. And with respect to what you said about Dylan, no matter what I say about her, people criticize me. Leave her alone. No, she
Right.
did something wrong. If it was a man, she would have been taken down to the police department and booked. I
Right.
don't know which side to be is true, but she's not a kid. All right. People say, oh, she's a child. No, she's not a child. She's 20 at that time. She is 20 years old. She's old enough to vote. She is old enough to drive a car. She's old enough to live on her own and go to a university. So
Right.
no, she's not a child, and law enforcement should have, true, she's not 21, but she's 20, on the cusp of 21, and law enforcement should have nicely, politely, professionally, in that she is found at a crime scene where there are 4 M's, and they should have put her in the back of the car, taken her down to the police station, given her a cup of coffee, let her calm down, and done a thorough, not 3 interviews like we've heard of, give one professional, thorough interview of her,
Right.
and then go from there, and not have Bethany or the other kids across the street listening and correcting her when she's trying to spell names. That's not how a police. I'm not a cop, but I
Right.
think even a kid who watches CSI or one of my favorite TV shows, Forensic Files, knows that that's not how you do an investigation. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Right. Right. When I saw that body cam footage, the first thing I said was, why didn't they, first of all, block off the area? Why didn't they close that block down? There was cars driving through there. There were people stopping. The neighbors were coming over to take a look. And I thought, this is crazy that, there's all these people in and out of the crime scene. It seemed weird. I mean, any of those people could have been the suspect. It seemed strange that people were just driving by. But I said the same thing. Why aren't they separating these people and then questioning them? Why are they letting them all? I mean, because you can see Dylan, she's telling her friends first everything that happened, and then and then she goes on to talk to the law enforcement officer. But it seemed kind of strange, and maybe law enforcement was just way over their head at that point, and didn't really know how to handle that situation. But it kind of surprised me. One other thing that really surprised me about the body cam footage was how close those buildings are to each other. I mean, the band field was right there. I mean, they literally could have thrown a rock from their driveway and over to the band field.
Yeah, it's a really it's a condensed area. I've seen areas like that. I lived in a university town here in New England for a while, and I've seen. I mean, real estate is at a prime, and so they build them. Forget about, if you know anything about zoning or planning. Forget about frontage or setback requirements. Every square foot is a building with maybe enough for a dog to run between the buildings. So yeah, you're right about that. It was a tough kind of a setup. A lot of neighbors heard things, the barking dog, the scuffle inside. So yeah, I think unfortunately for all of us who want to know what happened, there are more questions than there were answers from all the materials that have come out
Right.
from the police recently.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned the crime scene photos. And to me, it almost looked staged. Now, I'm not saying that it was staged, but I'm just saying it looked staged. It didn't look, like you said, we heard about this, there was more body fluid than anybody had ever seen in any crime scene that they've ever been to. And that's what I was expecting when these photos came out. And then they came out, and I'm thinking, this doesn't look like the scene that was described to us. This doesn't, I get it. We weren't seeing the bedrooms. We saw a little bit of Xana's bedroom, but we didn't see Maddie's bedroom, a little bit of it. But it didn't look like it was in disarray. It didn't look like people were running for their lives, and that there was a lot of panic happening inside this house. So it kind of surprised me a little bit. I don't know if you've seen the new photos that have just come out. They just dropped They just dropped about 300 new crime scene photos.
Oh, good grief.
It's even worse. I mean, that stairway leading up to Kaylee and Maddie's bedroom on the 3rd level, it is panic happening. It does not look like anybody ran through there. So it was kind of
no sense to me.
surprised me a little bit. I don't know if you've seen the new photos.
The stairs
that have just come out. They just
I have
dropped
a dog and a cat.
Right.
So
Right.
You can imagine that if you don't clean it up every week or every 10 days. So that stairway was pristine. It looked like right after my cleaning person left. So
Right.
that just that amplifies our doubt. When I was looking down, I was pawing through my notes to look for Idaho State Police report number 184, in which a defense expert processed 1122. King wrote at some point. He collected clothing. There was still clothing in there. They collected wall sections. They cut out sections of the wall. They took stain swabs. They took flooring out of Xana Kernodle's room and Madison Mogan's. They actually took flooring out of that place. Now, it would have been nice to see that. It really would have been. I know
Right.
a lot of people are very sensitized to all that. And I'm sure you followed the fact that 2 of the families, the Chapin family and Xana's family, are now suing the Moscow police to prevent them from putting any more material out. And I think, as the judge, kind of said, not in these words, but the horses are already out of the barn. A lot of this stuff is already out there. But,
Right.
where the defense experts went in there and took pictures, they would have had to have documented that, I would think. It's a crime scene. You don't just walk in and take stuff, do you? I don't think so.
Right. Well, I mean, they did on December 8th when they carried out all the belongings.
Right.
That's another thing that's always blown my mind, is that the chief of police shows up in a U-Haul truck and they start
Himself.
carrying out belongings in an open, in an active crime scene.
Yeah. And then there was another time where they went in and they were about ready to go in and they were called off because the hazmat bio team said, you can't go in there. Just don't remember that. There was another
Right.
time when they tried to go in,
Right.
but they were stopped apparently. There was another time when early in the morning or late at night, we think it was feds, but we don't know who. Somebody went in there and went in the house. They were in there for a while and they left. Remember that?
Yeah,
Kind of a
it was
mysterious thing.
It was like the Cowboys, and they had
The
on cowboy
Cowboys.
hats, and they were getting in, and there just happened to be a reporter standing out there, and she was trying to ask them some questions. They were getting into a minivan,
Right.
and they didn't answer any questions, but it just seems so strange. And that there is a picture of a huge piece of sheetrock that was cut out from
Yeah.
behind Maddie Mogan's desk.
Yeah.
But when you look at the crime scene photo that looks into Maddie's bedroom, it does not look like anything's disturbed in there. I mean, her boots are just sitting on the floor next to her
Right.
jeans. And this bedroom was the size of a walk-in closet. I mean,
Right.
it wasn't a lot of room. And, people say, well, they were both found on the bed. And I'm like, but where was the attacker? He had to be on the floor at some point. I mean, he had to be walking around this area. Why doesn't anything look disturbed?
Student housing, tiny rooms. I went to college in Boston and for a while had an apartment with a roommate up on top of Beacon Hill, and there's no space at all between those buildings. And my
Right.
bedroom was teeny tiny. I'm in a little tiny studio here. It wasn't even the size of this tiny studio. It had room for a bed and a small desk. I had just a little teeny tiny little desk. I didn't even have a
Right.
dresser.
Yeah.
I kind of piled my clothes on a shelf, kind of like the shelf, and it was tiny. So that's what I envisioned that room being like. Can I tell you what my favorite report was? What my
Of
favorite
course.
report of all the and I think this goes to the subject you brought up. Can I tell you what my favorite report was?
Absolutely.
It was the one where two of the police went in and they did what they claimed to be a reenactment, where they went in and they ran up and down the stairs.
Right.
And they said that according to them, this whole thing could have been done in a minute and a half, or when they redid the test more slowly, and I think in their words deliberately, it could have been done in 2.5 minutes, more or less. And I just said to myself, no. I
Right.
can't believe serious law enforcement actually did that. There's such a thing as a crime scene reconstruction expert, and they take the facts and they analyze everything, and then they go in and they calculate. So when I saw that report that purported to
Yeah.
say that whoever did this could have done it in a minute and a half or 2.5, that's when, to me, all credibility from all law enforcement to touch this case went out the window. How could they
Right.
even say that? How could they even do that? It wouldn't have been admissible because they failed to lay the foundation for how they knew they couldn't even put him in the house, but now they have him going in the house, going up the stairs, going, I believe, to Maddie and Kaylee's bedroom first. Then they went down to Xana and Ethan's room, and they just counted out the number of stabs that they thought each one had. And now what do they do? Go 1, 2, 3, 4. That doesn't account for the fact that we know that Xana fought back, and we're very certain that Kaylee fought back. And so how did what? I'm speechless to figure out
I get it.
why they even did this. It just no credibility at all. And I think that's one reason why Brett Payne now is working for the university. He's not there. He's not with the police department anymore.
Right. I don't think he has been with the police department for a while now. I think
Right.
he's been with the University of
Right.
Idaho. And, and that's the thing is, and then that's why there's so much confusion. And that's why people are having a problem wrapping their head around this, because every time that law enforcement comes out or the prosecution comes out, they say something that, doesn't make any sense. It's weird when they're being questioned and they're like, no, we had no contact at all. We have no idea, if there was any type of association with each other. Brett Payne came out and said we didn't really get a lot off of his devices because he had wiped all of his devices clean. And it was odd. I watched an interview with Bill Thompson a couple weeks ago, and it was on East Idaho News, and they asked him, and I thought that they did a great job. I really do. I think that they did a really great job. And because they were asking him some of the questions that I think a lot of us have. And one of those questions is, why didn't you require Brian Kohberger to allocate in order to accept this deal? And he said something that I just thought was odd, and you would probably know better than myself, but he said, we thought about that. We thought about having him explain himself, but then we realized and we agreed not to do that because we realized we wouldn't be able to determine if what he was saying was true. And I was thinking to myself, well, I mean, wouldn't your investigation have a lot of those details? Like, didn't you do a full investigation that would explain a lot of the stuff that he would supposedly be saying?
Oh, I agree with you wholeheartedly. When Thompson first made that statement before the East Idaho News interview, I kind of agreed with him. I mean, I thought what he meant was, we can't believe anything out of this guy's mouth. I thought that's what he meant. But then I saw the interview you're talking about with Nate Eaton of East Idaho News. Great reporter, really good reporter.
I thought he did a great job.
So I was wrong with my initial interpretation. No, it wasn't that they didn't believe anything out of the guy's mouth. It was that they didn't feel that the investigators would have the capacity to corroborate any of the stuff that, and that blows my mind. And I watched your episode where you were talking about the Nate Eaton interview, and then it went on to say, well, in terms of this allocution, why didn't you at least ask Mr. Kohberger, where's the knife? Because that's such a crucial thing, and that would have solidified it in everybody's mind. A lot of us that have questions, and we're being hammered by our commenters, let it go, he pled guilty, just let it go. Well, I'm not going to leave it go because there's so many questions, but that would have been a really simple thing to get out of him. And then they could go. I mean, I left it behind the 7-Eleven store on 24th Street. Well, go to the 7-Eleven. So yeah, I agree with you. That's 100% right.
It would have been confirmation. I mean, I feel like, it's crazy. They don't believe a word he says when he's going to allocute, but they believe him when he pleads guilty. Right. So he's trustworthy enough to plead guilty, and they'll take his word for it on that. But they're not going to take his word for it when he tries to explain. I would have liked to have known, why did he choose this house? Why did he choose these victims? Why? I mean, was there some sort of connection at some point in time? Did he somehow connect with one of these female victims? Maybe follow them online? Where's the connection? And, my big thing is that if they asked him where the weapon is, which we see all the time in various different cases, that is one thing they ask the suspect. Where did you hide the weapon? Absolutely. I mean, they'll take the suspect out to the location and have them show them where the weapon is, because it's confirmation that they did commit this crime or that they were involved in this crime if they know where that weapon's hidden.
Yeah. Can I take it one step further? And I'm going to blow your viewers' minds.
Absolutely.
Brian Kohberger never confessed to this crime. He pled guilty, and if you go back in the documents, he signed. Were prepared by some.
Thank you, Andrew Myers. Did you hear that? And that, my friends, is an attorney that's saying that. By the way, welcome, Kent. Welcome, Hemisphere. I didn't get to tell you earlier, but thank you for joining me tonight, gentlemen. I appreciate you both. Bingo, folks. Right there, hit the nail on the head with the big old hammer.
In this whole thing, they're saying exactly what we all been saying this whole time.
Absolutely. And this is an attorney, folks, ladies and gentlemen. This is an attorney, okay? That's all there is to it, right there. He did not.
So he admitted guilt, but they slander his name every chance they get. Destroy his character. Now trying to destroy his family's character
every day,
and what they're all about. If something don't happen here, it's just begging to be happening. You know what I'm saying, Dago?
That's right.
It really is. It's begging. Please, come, do what you got to do. Make this right, because
we got 4 days.
I've said this. I've said this in the past. I'm sure that there's stuff like this has been going on for years and years and years. Just never been this wide ass open.
Right.
Where everybody sees it.
Yes. I agree. But, and like it says right there, he pled guilty, folks, but did not confess to any crimes. None. Remember that when one of these guilters tries to tell you, but he confessed, he did it, he knows he did it, you know he did it. That's when you turn and tell him, please shut up and sit down, because no, he didn't. There's the answer right there. And that's how you respond to those people, with that statement right there.
I want to touch base on something with you, Dago, because we hadn't talked since then. When he came out with that, they showed his paperwork, and I know you read through it all.
Yeah.
That said a lot to me. It really did, because it brought me into the mind of Kohberger and what he really thinks. And this is a curriculum. He's been writing reports on this. This is part of him being a criminology student.
Yeah.
So it's only his view of the justice system. And this has been going on for years.
And it's just
ironic. It's just ironic how he said the very same thing that they're doing to him.
100%. He knew. He knows. My title to my show yesterday was, Did Brian foresee the future and write his own story? Because I'll be damned if that's what it doesn't look like at this point. We all know that that's not a possibility, okay? And we all know that that's not real life. But in essence, that's exactly what we're seeing, okay? And Brian knows. I'm glad I saw that stuff, you guys, truly, because it tells me it gives me a little more faith within him. He knows what's going on. There's no doubt about that in my mind now. He knows what he can do or can't do. He knows what could happen. He knows what won't happen. And that is kind of a bit of a relief. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
yeah,
I was happy to hear that.
yeah,
That was his thoughts on that.
definitely. And I think it's going to show us something. If it don't happen in the next 4 days, it will happen at some point. Something's going to happen, guys. This guy is not dumb, and this man is not guilty. He's not going to live his life this way, knowing those things. Period. Okay. And I truly feel like there's something coming one way or another. I'm very strong. I've had very strong feelings. Lucy just said, "Isn't it funny? AF the docket reminds everyone about the video. The boyfriend of Dylan Morton's best friend, and the next effing day, poof, Frank's back. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
I just hope that when it does happen, he makes a big, huge statement when it does happen. You know what I'm saying, Dago?
Yeah, yeah, very good point, my friend. Good to see you, Flip.
So
Yeah, good point. Kent, any state or any comments to go along with that, my friend? Okay, on we go.
Someone, but if you look in Black's Law Dictionary, that's a major authoritative source. If you read Supreme Court cases or any state Supreme Court case, they cite Black's Law Library. It's an authoritative source on concepts in the law. And if you look up confessions, what it says is a confession includes some of the details of the crime, such that those who are accepting the confession understand that this is indeed and in fact the
Welcome,
person that
Nadia.
committed the crime. Now, what Brian Kohberger did was plead guilty. He signed.
Good golly, Miss Molly. Now I know what Illuminati people look like. Crazy. Okay.
Documents, and if you go look at the documents, they look like they may have been prepared by Bill Thompson, they may have been prepared by Ashley Shush Jennings, or they might have been prepared by one of their minions, one of their law.
Well, now we know what stupid people look like, so I guess turnabout's fair play.
Clerks, a law student, because what it is under Idaho Code Section 1234CB2, I did it under, and so it's a formed document that some paralegal or other person on the prosecution team wrote, and then Brian Kohberger signed it. So he pled guilty, but he never gave us that allocution that you brought up. He never confessed to the crime, and I know people are going to come down below on both of our channels and say, "Well, he pled guilty, so that's it. Move on."
Right.
That's how I felt initially. I said, okay, we're going to move on. We're going to do something else now. But the more material that comes out, the more questions come up. So Brian Kohberger, bottom line, under the legal definition of a confession, never confessed to the crime.
Wow. Okay. Well, and that's another thing is that, we know that he pled guilty. We all saw that, but it almost seems like he pled guilty, and that's what I have a hard time wrapping my head around. Is he pled guilty, but it still seems like the investigation is having a hard time proving that he committed this crime without a doubt. I feel like all of the information that's coming out is not helping the prosecution's case.
No, you're absolutely right. In a previous episode, I alluded to, but I did not go into great deal of depth, as another person that we both know did, an article that was put out and it documented in detail 31.
Rich guy. Oh, Lord. There's scientific evidence. Not really. A lot of circumstantial evidence. Not at all. and he pled guilty. Common. Not even close. I'm sorry, but not even close. So I'm sorry that you think that, but interesting.
They don't have anything that's tying him to the victims.
There's not.
Nothing.
I don't know
They
where these.
tore his car apart. They literally tore his
Right,
car apart looking for any kind of DNA connecting him to the victims. They didn't find anything.
right, right. Hey, David, good
They
to see you.
they had to go above and beyond just to bash this man's character and get you to believe that he's guilty.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, Rich Guy, there's a link pinned at the top of the chat. Feel free to jump up here with us and tell me what that circumstantial evidence is. I want to hear what that is. Truly,
I
let's
mean,
talk about it. Please.
if he's guilty, I want to be proven wrong. And hey, it is what it is. But till
Yeah.
then, this it's they got the wrong guy.
Well,
I
there's
don't
no
know
two
how
ways.
else I can
There's
say
no
it.
other. There's no two ways about that. That's fact.
And these guys pretty much letting you know that there's multiple suspects too. So there's no way that you can run a trial run just to make sure that you can do this in a minute and a half. There's no way. And you got the coroner even coming in. I'll put it out there too to remind y'all. The very beginning of the case, the coroner came out and said the knife wounds on these victims did not match a K-ball.
Right,
They hushed her up real quick.
right. Very quick. Yeah. If you read under, not, I'm not, and you know me better than that, Phil. I'm not being a smartass, but I even wrote it down too. In Black's Law Dictionary, if you look that up, that's how it describes it. Truly, truly, truly. That's where that comes from. That's why Andrew referenced that too. Um,
There's but there's a reason
yeah,
why
when you
he had to plead guilty because the prosecution could not afford to go to trial with this.
right,
Because
that's true too. That's true. None of them are good, but in the dictionary, under the definition of a confession, it does state there's a lot more to it than what people are saying that is. Um, there's a lot more to what's involved with the confession. There's a true definition of a confession in the law dictionary. It gives like details of the situation, I guess. Um, bingo, right there. What she just said. It includes details. Yeah, 100%.
exactly,
Thank you.
and when he pleaded guilty, and I heard he was going to plead guilty, I said, "Oh, great! We're going to have a confession with that." Because I can't help but to get on Hitler a little bit because he went through the protocol. But like I told you that day, he must not be in the case logs of what they're bringing in to say, "Oh, I done looked at all this evidence. This don't even add up. Why are you pleading guilty?"
Right, Lucy, drop that in Discord in the back for me, hon.
So he can deny the plea of guilty because he already knows this needs to go to trial, and the jury needs to decide his fate and not accept the plea. What did he do? He accepted the plea. So that let me know, in my humble opinion, that Hitler was just as involved as the prosecutor. And it's funny that we never heard about that investigation in the Dateline. How all
Oh,
that
they're
just
they're they're claiming that it's still rolling, but I don't know that we'll hear anything. Based on what we were saying, real quick, Lucy says in criminal law, a voluntary statement made by a person charged with the commission of a crime or misdemeanor communicated to another person wherein he acknowledges himself to be guilty of the offense charged and disclose the circumstance of the act or the share and participation which he had in it. And that comes from Spicer versus Com. Thank you, Lucy.
In this country who have pled guilty and were later found to be not guilty. So it happens. It does happen that people, for whatever reason, maybe they're scared. Maybe just the recurring nightmare of being in front of a firing squad. Maybe
Right.
because of parental pressure. And those are all things that we've been told might be possible in this case.
Yeah.
But this article documented 31 cases in which people pled guilty and they were later found to be not guilty. So is that what happened in this case? I don't know. I'm just saying that there's more questions than there are answers. And, a lot of the attorneys that do podcasts have now said, okay, he pled guilty. That's it. I have to respect that. But
Right.
I don't join that club. I'm
Well,
sorry.
I feel like we need to see the solid. I would like to see the solid evidence that leaves me walking away going, okay, I feel like without a doubt, Brian Kohberger committed this crime. And I just don't feel like we've seen that. And,
I agree.
like you were saying, there's another big.
All right, you guys, right there. And it's what I just read to you that she put in the chat for us. But that's it right there, and it's in the law dictionary right there. That is what a confession is. That's why Andrew stated it the way he did. That way you guys can make sure you see it. Sorry. Do me a favor, sir. That door is heavy, so don't let it hit you. I wouldn't want to have you have a false accusation or something. What a joke. I hope you don't talk to yourself then, buddy, because, that wouldn't be good for you.
Big case where that happened, and that was the West Memphis 3.
I'm
in
not
the
as
West
familiar
Memphis,
with that case as you are. I'm not that familiar with that case, but yes.
So in the West Memphis 3, it was an Alpert's plea,
Mhm.
but they pled guilty. They did 20 years in prison before they got out, and then they got out, and they had to sign a contract that they could not sue the state for being locked up for 20 years for a crime they didn't commit. So it's a mess. It's a really interesting case. It's an older case, but it was happening during like the satanic panic and all that stuff. But it's a very interesting case. But so let me ask you, because there's sometimes when I'm doing my research and I come across things that have to do with Bill Thompson or Ann Taylor or other attorneys involved in the case, and I always kind of make a side note to myself, a little mental note that I want to ask Andrew about this.
Okay.
And
anytime, Lucky.
Yeah,
Anytime.
yeah. So I want to ask you about Ann Taylor because, and I guess the question I want to ask is, do you believe that Ann Taylor truly believed 100% that Brian Kohberger was innocent when she stood in front of the court and she told the judge, she said in front of the court, my client, Brian Kohberger, is innocent. And she, she did a lot. If you think about it, I mean, she accused law enforcement. She accused the prosecution of misconduct. She wasn't making a lot of friends in Moscow.
Bobby, why would you say that? I know I'm no longer whelping on this channel, but realistic fact that none of you accept as his guilty plea shifts the burden of proof to him and not the state. First off, nobody ever said you weren't welcome here, my friend. Ever. I don't know why you would say that. But what is up with everybody tonight? Thinking that I'm angry about things or whatever. If you weren't welcome here, you wouldn't be here, bud. Just so you know that, okay? I've never mentioned that at all. It can shift the way that works in reality, sure. But realistically, there's no proof. And like I just read the definition of what he did. That's not what he did, though. But you're definitely never been unwelcome here, Bobby. I've never ever said that, so I don't know where that comes from.
Idaho, and I feel like this is a pretty small town, so I feel like they probably run into each other a lot. But it seemed as though she was defending Brian Kohberger's innocence vigorously. I mean, she was, she truly believed, it seemed, that Brian Kohberger was 100% innocent. And then, it seemed like we were going through the hearings and she's filing all these motions for discovery. And then just out of the blue, right before trial, they plead guilty. So do you think that Ann Taylor believed that Brian Kohberger was 100% innocent all the way up until that point?
Oh, wow. You're asking me to get inside of her head. I mean, I was a staunch defender of Ann Taylor when my commenters or others would be critical of her and to say not nice things about her and say, oh, she's in over her head. I truly defended her all the way along. And a good defense attorney provides a defense because it rises to constitutional proportions. She certainly worked extremely hard, writing 20, 25 motions at a time on issues like removing the DP from the table. I mean, I forget how many motions there were. I think there were 23, 24 different motions.
It was a lot.
And then another time I came into work one day and there were the same number of...
I fixed it. I know there was a little background noise. It's taken care of, guys.
Motions on the alternate suspect theory, and it's like, how can you do that if you don't believe it? I mean, how could you do that if you don't believe it? So I've got to think. I mean, apparently they spent a lot of time together. I mean, either she or one of her people would go to the holding cell in Moscow, and then the other one in Boise. I don't know. I can't get into her head. I have to believe.
The state no longer has to prove anything. BK has to prove innocence, which, okay. We don't know what's going to happen yet, though, Bobby. We don't know at all. You're right. That's how that works in the end, that when it's all said and done. And I agree with you on that point. But we don't know what or when is going to happen. He hasn't done it yet. He's got 4 more days before that's locked out. And then from that point forward, whatever he chooses to do, that's up to him. And I don't believe he did it. I don't care what you tell me or anybody shows me. I'm not going to believe he did it until you or Bill Thompson or whoever else is out there shows me the proof that he did it. And I mean that with all due respect. You should know that. Okay. But that's not going to change my mind just because of the way he did what he did. But coming from an attorney's mouth, if you read it out of the law dictionary, he did what he did for a reason. There are many, okay, let me use the right word here. There's many different strategies that are used in the legal system. Many. Some of them don't make sense. Some of them make perfect sense. It just depends on what the situation is. This was a really, really crazy situation. And obviously knew that he wasn't going to get anywhere with a normal trial. He knew that. We knew that. And I believe that's why this route has been taken, as we shall see or not see. And that happened, Bobby, do you know how many times a day that happens? Do you know how many times a day that people admit to guilt under oath in court when they didn't do it? Honestly? Go read the statistics on that. It happens every day in many, many cases. And it turns out that people have done it and they've ended up being innocent. That's not that hard to understand, you know? It happens all the time. And hundreds and thousands of cases it's happened, okay? Maybe not thousands. I'll say hundreds, but I'm going to present one tonight. A bit of one. I'm going to show the details of it, but it happens all the time. And people walk out the door free after admitting to guilt under oath. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get to a certain, from one point to another, period. "95% of criminal charges are resolved via plea agreements," especially in this case with this guy, the prosecutor. That does not mean that law enforcement is correct 95% of the time. Very true. Very true. It's huge. Go look at the I've showed some of the numbers in here before. Daily. I guarantee you there's 5 people out there that did it today, somewhere in the United States, that were innocent as hell and pled guilty to a situation or took a plea deal for one reason or another, because it makes more sense to help them in the long run, per se. That's why he did it. I don't understand why people don't grasp that. Well, in this situation, we know of one for sure, and it's happened before. Bill Thompson did the same situation 29 years ago. I showed you that case before. That statement there is true too, what Phil just said. It is far more likely to reach some sort of relief after accepting a plea than it would be to overturn a unanimous decision from a jury and a death penalty sentence, especially in a death penalty sentence. I mean, like I said, I've tried to show proof of these things. I'm going to show a little bit here when this is done. I don't know that it's happened before with 4 life sentences, but I know it's happened before with a life sentence. It just so happened that there were 4 people that were taken, their lives were taken in this case. That's why it happened that way. It doesn't matter whether it was 1 life sentence or 4. It's still a death sentence either way. Oh yeah, that's right. That is true, Lucy. And the West Memphis, the Central Park 5, that case that they all went down for that, West Memphis 3, and the Satanic Panic situation, Lucy's right on that one for sure. So the Charles Manson situation, I think how many were there in total with that? With the Tate situation, I don't remember. It's been so long since I've looked at Manson stuff. And if you read into, I don't think you were here the other night when we covered it, but the books and the papers that Brian was writing, he knew all this. He knew every bit of this, and was reading about this type of thing happening. Same thing that happened to him, and writing about it in his papers. Yeah, the Central Park 5 was a horrible situation there. Those were kids, mind you. On we go.
That she did think that. Either way, it's her obligation to provide a good defense.
Right.
And I think she did that. There was one thing in the reports, the Idaho State Police reports.
All of those cases, the defendant was found guilty by a jury, not by confession. Okay. It still is the same result, though. Right. That's why he did it, because he needed to get the death penalty off the table. So with what Phil says, a death penalty jury is 90+% more likely to convict with the same evidence when death penalty is on the table. No death penalty equals no death penalty certified jury. Right. Exactly. Good point, Phil. And the same thing happened in Idaho. Lucy's right. The ISP literally got a man to falsely confess about the chiropractor situation. Yes. And they pled guilty. They pled guilty. Was it a plea deal? I don't think it was. No, the Central Park 5 was a different situation. They were forced into that again, same way as this, and conned into it. No, it's not. Say you did it versus the jury saying you did it. Not the same. It's different because you accepted a deal instead of sitting in front of the jury and going through the whole trial. But it's still the same outcome in the end. If the jury would have found him guilty, he'd have got the death penalty. In this case, they took the death penalty off the table so that wasn't something he had to worry about, and he could take the time that he needed to find new evidence or whatever he's got to do to prove his innocence. It's just, if you don't see the red flags that are all over this to understand why this all happened, just saying. Even Chris McDonough, I can't stand him, but as pointed out that the prosecution did this the wrong way, and that all these things should never have happened like this. Dr. Moore, that was the name I was trying to think of.
My thoughts about it is, with every jury guilt, there is a element to that guilt of, You know what I'm
I
saying?
never said that, though.
That's why he's guilty. This is why they have proven he's guilty.
Well,
we haven't had that in this case.
that's the thing, is they didn't. And no, Bobby, I never said that I thought that a jury would find him, would not have found him guilty. I never said that. All I said was, I can't imagine how a jury would find him guilty with the flags, the red flags, and the facts that we have in this case. I never ever said that. In fact, I was worried that it very possibly would, based on the other corruption in the case that had gone on, if I remember correctly. That's truly what I believe and have believed. And that's a big statement right there. How are you going to fight? You can't fight for your innocence if the judge doesn't allow it to happen. And he wasn't allowing it to happen. So
every chance they got, every time when they come up with something, they was denied. Cyree was the big one. And that should have prompted Hepler to go, I need to bring in all these lawyers to my office, and we need to have a chat. Because
if he was about true justice, sure. And if they would have been able to, agreed, I agree. And also, real quick, if they were able to pull the death penalty, because they tried when they were still in Latah County. If they would have been able to pull the death penalty off the table without accepting a plea deal, they would have went to trial. I can almost guarantee you that. Guarantee that. I bet everything I own on that.
They asked the man for an alibi. He gave him the alibi, and not too many terms, Thompson tell him that's a bullshit alibi.
Yeah,
so
and I think that they felt that they would have been convicted, and he would have gotten the death penalty. He felt that they felt that stuck and against the wall at that point. That's one of the reasons why I think this happened. That's all I'm saying.
And that they was also worried about a tainted jury pool. That's the reason why they went out of Latah to go to Boise.
And it didn't matter, because with all the hit pieces that were coming out, the jury was still going to be tainted. Again, another reason.
Because you had mainstream media. That was another complaint that Ann Taylor was coming up with.
He had already been found. Yes, he had already been found guilty in the court of public opinion. All they had to do now was get him where he is now. That's all they needed. Period. Absolutely. Agreed.
I don't know. Let me ask you something, Dago. I don't want to be wrong. If I'm wrong, if I'm ever wrong, just let me know. I'm still learning as I'm going.
Everybody is wrong at some point. We all are.
When you was going through the papers that he read, wasn't there a statement that he made saying that there's a better way to do the judicial system, as far as prosecutors can have their experts, and then defense can have their expert, and then the jury's there to decide which expert is more credible.
That's what his paper was about. That way it would lessen the conviction rate and the over. I mean, basically what he was saying in layman's terms in his papers is that just about everybody that is tried is found guilty and convicted and thrown in prison. Incarceration rate is stupid high. And he said if the judge or the prosecutors, what more, there was the prosecutor, I'm sorry, was more of a I'm trying to think of the word that he used in the phrasing, but it's a specific type of a prosecutor that looks for better ways to punish the situation, if that makes a difference. A better ways to handle it rather than just automatically incarcerating this person, which is what they've been doing so much. It doesn't quite fit with Brian, but he was looking into that kind of stuff. If he was more of a retroactive prosecutor and more modernization, I think it was one of the words he used or something like that. They look for other ways to reform the suspect or the perpetrator, whatever you want to call it, of the crime, rather than just automatically incarcerating them for whatever, again and again and again and again. And that is definitely something that Bill Thompson is not. First off, Bill is nothing but plea deals. The guy has, maybe out of all the cases he's covered in 30 plus years, probably really truly went to trial in one, maybe two. The rest of them have all ended in plea deals. Okay. He's never had to work for him. He didn't work in this case for him. He did not prosecute Brian. He did not convict Brian. Brian convicted himself for reasons unbeknownst to us at this point, but hopefully one day we will figure it out and it will come forward as to why he did it. And Brian knew exactly what he was doing based on those papers that we were reading and the books that he had been reading, and showed it himself. I think he knew more about this shit than Thompson did, reading what I read. At least he had the ability to think about it, okay? And that's why this has all gone this way, in my opinion. So, on we go. Look how I stopped it, dude. That's funny.
That made me scratch my head a little bit. Lucky, I'm going to tell you a little secret. A little secret. Whenever I get a legal document, I read the end of it first, and then I go back and I read it, because the important stuff's all the way at the end. So if you go to the last three documents that were in the document drop from the Idaho State Police, report numbers 204, 5, and 6. Actually, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those documents point out that a number of the potential witnesses that were on the defense list either had never been contacted by Ann Taylor, or they received subpoenas from the defense, but they had never been contacted. There were people on the witness list
Exactly,
who hadn't been
Circuit.
talked to by the defense team since the preliminary hearing, which was way back in the spring of 2023. So I'm really wondering if she was ready for this trial. And again, I've been a big defender of hers all the way through. And so I was shocked when I saw that there were so many witnesses that just either hadn't heard or got subpoenas, and they called into the defense office and never got a return phone call. Did I think that Ann Taylor herself personally was going to return the phone call? No, of course not. But you have legal assistants, you have paralegals, you have clerks, you have interns. Somebody can return these calls and say, hey, how are you going to help us in this trial, or not? And if they're not, you just don't call them. So to answer your question, Lucky, I'm sorry I was so long-winded.
No, not at all. I appreciate having you here. You know, that's the thing. That's why I really enjoy having you here, because I like to ask, these questions from somebody who has that experience,
I never, in the interest of, truthful disclosure, I've never defended somebody that faced a firing squad. I've never done that. Lucky, early in my career, I did do a fair amount of criminal offense, but
Nobody said it was offensive, Bobby. I never said that. It seems to me, based on what you just did there, that you wanted to start an argument, and I was talking to you and explaining to you every question you answered or asked, I answered. I never said a word. I don't control what other people in here think or feel, and I don't believe I saw anybody tell you to shut up either. If you choose to not want to be here, that's your choice, but nobody asked you to leave. I've always accepted you happily and had you here for quite a while. And if you feel that you differ in opinion than I do, I don't understand at our age why that can't be done without basically throwing a temper tantrum and leaving like this. Because I'm not doing that. I'm not rage quitting because you differ in opinion than I do. I'm not getting mad and banging my feet and raising my voice. I don't understand it. I think we're all adults, I thought. I never asked you to shut up. I never was offended by your comments either. Anything else? That's pretty childish if you ask me. I'm sorry. Do what you got to do, boss.
Later in my career, I do mostly, not entirely, but I do mostly civil stuff. I do mostly
Okay.
civil law at this point. A lot
Right.
of people do that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had enough exposure to it, and I've known and worked with enough criminal attorneys that I feel
Yeah.
somewhat qualified to answer your questions, but that's about it.
Yeah, I like to run them by you. Like I said, whenever I'm doing my research, you know, sometimes I'll run past some of these questions and I think to myself, I'm going to ask Andrew about this because
Email me anytime.
I
Email
will.
me. It's okay. Fine.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So let me ask you a question before we wrap this up. Do you think we're going to see an appeal?
I'm guessing so.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't you? I don't understand why he pled guilty in the first place.
I agree.
But why wouldn't he try and appeal it, you know, on grounds of pressure, on grounds of he was under, you know, undue influence at that time? Yeah, I'd be surprised if he doesn't. I might be wrong. I'd be surprised if he doesn't.
Once we get to the important part of this, I'm going to make a statement, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time for it here in a few minutes.
I know that there's a deadline coming up as to how far. Now, will he be able to appeal after that, or is that after that deadline? Is that it?
Roll the drums. Roll the drums. Roll the drums. There's a provision in Idaho criminal procedure that you are entitled to make a request within 2 years if you have evidence of some other person being involved in the crime. So if that happens, if they unveil evidence that someone else was involved in the crime, that's what the rule says. I'm not an Idaho attorney. I'm only licensed in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, two great states. But that's what the rule says, up to 2 years. If you discover evidence that someone else did the crime, evidence which could not in due diligence have been discovered at the time that you were convicted.
Okay, so that clears that up, because, you know, you hear a lot of different things. You know, we hear a lot of different things. And I guess maybe that brings me up to, you know, I want to go kind of back to this interview with Nate Eaton from East Idaho News when he asked Bill Thompson, you know, do you believe that, you know, do you believe 100% that Brian Kohberger acted alone? And he said, yeah, you know, our investigation points us in that direction, but it's possible that, you know, there might be someone else involved. And I was thinking, you know, that's really not what I expected to hear. I really kind of expected him to hear him say, no, we know that Brian Kohberger was the only one that committed this crime, because then, I mean, you're basically saying there's a possibility that there's someone else out there.
That won't happen as long as the propaganda train keeps rolling on.
That could have been part of this.
As you know, I don't like hyperbole and I don't like, you know, bombshells, but isn't that outrageous that he thinks it could be a possibility?
Dago, I was not responding to you. I was responding to a person in chat that you were telling me. Well, Bobby, let me tell you something here. I respectfully don't appreciate your response accusing me of being childish to someone else. Okay, I'm going to say this. You have been here for a while, and I've always treated you with absolute respect and then some. Okay? And then some. Never have I ever been rude, disrespectful, or ignorant to you in any shape or fashion ever. You went a direction today because you feel some kind of way, and I didn't ask you to come here. You chose to come here, as you always have, and I've always had my door open to you in any way, shape, or fashion. Never been rude to you, ever. You did not differentiate who you were talking to. You made a statement in my channel. It's got my name on it, not that other person's. Okay? When you come in here talking, unless you say me personally or to whoever you're talking to personally, I have to keep this under control, okay, so that it doesn't turn into mass chaos. That's my job as the creator. We were watching this, okay, understanding what they're saying. Either something in here set you off or something somewhere else did throughout the day or another channel or something else my channel said. Everybody in here has differing opinions, and we've always had that. And nobody treats each other in a certain type of way. I went back and looked at the comment that was made to you, okay? They didn't tell you to shut up. They were saying that we were trying to watch the video and it was derailing it. That didn't say shut up. So if you're going to put it out, the statement, say what they said, okay? And I don't appreciate you coming at me the way you are right now and have been when I've treated you with nothing but respect the whole time. If you don't want to be here, then don't. Once again, I don't ask you to be here. I respect and appreciate you being here. And always have. For a couple years now. If you think Brian Kohberger's guilty and he should be where he's at, I respect that. I always have. But don't downgrade somebody else because they don't. Because I would not allow somebody else to do that to you, and I never have. But don't come at me like I've done something wrong to you. No, you didn't say anything like that to me, is what I'm saying. I have control of the whole channel, okay? And I said that the action was childish to say good night and goodbye because of a statement that was made. I'm 51 years old and I wouldn't do that, okay? Because I'm a grown adult. That's why I said the action was childish. If you don't want to be here, you don't have to be. I don't like to see anybody leave. But that's your choice if you choose to. But don't blame it on me being mean to somebody because that's not what I do at all. I never have. I go out of my way to be nice to people that don't even deserve it in some senses, okay? So remember that. So whatever you choose to do, I've never told you to leave. I've never told you when you first came in here with that statement you made when you first came in here was semi-childish too, that you know you're not wanted here or welcome here anymore because I never told you that. I never have. So I will say that to you too. If you don't want to be here, then don't be here. Don't throw a temper tantrum though and a fit and interrupt the entire show for everybody else and make it bad for them. That's all I was asking you in a nice way. I'm sorry that I have to make it this way now because you want to draw the attention to yourself by continuously doing this. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm going to move on now because I can do that. It's up to you what you do, my friend.
Possibility that there's someone else out there. Why aren't they investigating that? Why aren't they the ones that are going out looking for the alternative suspect? I mean, because you and I have both read what we've read about the brutality of this November 13th massacre. Really, that's all you can call it. It's even worse than that. Since the days of Charles Manson, I haven't heard of, although BTK and some of the others, but this is just outrageous. And if there's someone that's free that was involved in that, that's outrageous. That's just, I can't think of a better word for that. Although, some of my commenters have said, well, Kohberger was a loner. So how could he have worked with someone else? Well, I don't know. I don't see how one person could have done it. So yeah, I agree with you. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I've always felt like there were multiple perpetrators, and multiple weapons.
You and I did an episode a couple of years ago. Remember that? We did an episode. I just saw it the other day, 18 reasons why we think that more than one person was involved. And don't go back and look at it because that was in my early days as a podcaster.
And that was my early days too.
There were a lot of rough edges. So don't go back and look at it. But I think that I still believe that. I still believe that. It's hard to believe that one person did this. And for the prosecutor to say that, it's outrageous.
It was weird because he said, I'm doing this interview to clear things up. And I think that all he did was confuse things even more. When they said, well, do you think that it was just a single weapon that was used? And he said, well, that's what our investigation points us to. But he said, it's very possible that there were multiple weapons used. And I thought, shouldn't your investigation like determine that? I mean, shouldn't you be able to look at the wounds and decide whether they were made with the same weapon or not? I mean, you're talking about, you got the feds involved in this. You've got technology that we probably aren't even aware of. You know, it seems like they would be able to determine whether there was more than one weapon or not.
My apologies, everybody, that was interrupted that way. This is actually a very, in my opinion, a very interesting interview that Lucky's given with Andrew, and it's got a really great information, in my opinion. So my deepest apologies for what just went down in here. We don't usually ever have that kind of a problem, and I don't understand it. But things happen. People have bad days. So please accept my apology that happened here. Okay, I'm so sorry for what you may have missed. If anybody needs me to go back on it, I promise you I have no problem doing that. And again, I'm very sorry.
Well, the medical examiner in some of her earlier statements before the gag order did allude to the fact that the wounds were different between the victims. Remember that?
Right.
Between Xana and Ethan's muscles were sliced.
Right.
And some of the other wounds of the other people were stabbing wounds. And it's like, it's macabre to think about, but at the same time, we have to look at these facts to reach the conclusion that there are so many unanswered questions. And, you know, these people like Bill Thompson, you know, he never called me and asked me for advice, but my advice would be stop giving these. I mean, Nate Eaton is a great person. He's a fantastic journalist, and to get this stuff out of Thompson is incredible. So it's really too late. But my advice to you, Mr. Thompson, would be,
yeah. I mean, I feel like everybody that's come out and talked about this has made it worse, has made it more confusing, you know, and just added to us having more questions. And of course, with more questions, you're going to have more speculation. And, you know, I just felt like by now, I mean, Brian Kohberger pled guilty. Show us the goods. You know what I mean? Show us the goods. And if you have them, and now I think a lot of people are wondering, what exactly was so solid that they had, that they were, you know, I mean, if you remember, Bill Thompson was ready to go to trial in Latah County.
Back in
Way
2023.
back.
In 2023.
Yeah.
2 years ago. Yeah, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
Lucky, we did a poll on my channel 2 or 3 weeks ago. We polled our audience and said, all right, people want us to move on. How many people want us to move on, and how many people want us to stay on it, because there are so many questions. And I never tabulated the percentages, but I've got to say 95%. And I'm within 1 or 2 margin of error. I've got to say 95% of our commenters said stay on it. There's too many questions. Don't walk away from it. Some of the other podcasters, especially the legal podcasters, have walked, and I respect them. We're all entitled to our own view, but I would say 95% of my commenters said stay on it.
Yeah. I understand that 100%, because, you know, for me, I've been looking into other cases. I'm really digging into the Noah Pressgrove case. I don't know if you're familiar with that case. It's a wild one from out of Oklahoma. 19-year-old kid found on the side of the highway with extensive injuries. There's not a lot of answers. The family just filed a civil lawsuit about a month ago, and they're naming names. They're accusing people of taking their son's life, and they filed this civil lawsuit so that they can get these people to depose these people that were involved.
Yeah.
And so it's a very fascinating case. And I've talked about the Travis Decker case and a few other cases, you know, so I've kind of started to branch out a little more. But then it seems like information comes out in the Idaho 4 case and it just sucks you back in. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, you know, I was kind of moving into some of these other cases, and then the crime scene photos came out. And I'm like, hold on a second. Now I'm back in it. Now I'm out, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in. So it's hard to, you know, there's so much information coming out right now that it's really, you know, hard not to question a lot of this information.
Well, you're doing a great service. I mean, you've branched out. I've tried to branch out, but every time I try, you know, you're right. This case pulls you right back in. I've been watching the Adelson case. I haven't done any episodes on it because it's such a convoluted case. There's a guy here in my office that knows every detail of it, and I'm trying to get him to come on the podcast, but he's shy. But yeah, the Morphew case, there's a lot of cases percolating through right now. And but there's, as long as there are no answers in the Kohberger case, we'll keep doing it. We'll keep
Absolutely.
If there's more information, that's great. If there are more interviews, that's great. If there are more, God forbid, if there's more photographs and more police reports, I can't believe that this is, even though it's 550 some pages, I can't believe that's it. They just raise more questions. There's all kinds of suspicious activity going on in Moscow, Idaho, and it's not followed up on. So I can't believe that that's it. There's got to be more to the story, in my view.
I agree. What do you got going on with your channel, Andrew, before we wrap this up?
Oh, well, the new thing we have, and this is partially on a conversation that you and I had offline. You were telling me about these lives that you do on Wednesday. And so I kicked it back and forth. I thought about it. I get tired early in the evening, but not if I drink my energy drinks. So Lainey Law, who took a little bit of a hiatus this summer and who was too busy to do these weekend drop episodes that are what we really do, she's back and she's going to be helping me with Tuesday night lives. So we don't want to step on your Wednesdays, but Tuesday nights, which is a night that works out for me and her, because she's become quite busy. I'm not going to dox any of her activities, but she's become really busy. So Tuesday nights, we started this past Tuesday. We got an okay response. As you know, it takes time to build up an audience, but we had a good time. We had a good guest, guy by the name of Mike Crawford, who is in the greater Boston area. He's on top of a lot of stuff, not the least of which is the Karen Reed case, which is, it's still,
I know you've been neck deep in that one.
Well, you can't, it's like a train wreck. You can't look the other way. I mean, she was found guilty twice. Her attorney, Alan Jackson, says he thinks he's the only attorney in the United States that ever had his client acquitted twice. But it's final this time, and you can't question that. But there are just so many loose ends, and there are other cases where the same corrupt cops, and I'll call them corrupt cops because they are corrupt cops, handled some other cases in which they're dragging their feet, and it's just amazing, what's happening. So he was our first guest. And we're going to have another great guest. We'll have you sometime if you're available on a Tuesday night. Are you ever available on a Tuesday night?
Absolutely, man. I'll always make myself available.
So that's what's new on our channel.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah, I mean, it's been, I really enjoy watching your channel and watching other channels. I really enjoy watching, creators grow, and I really enjoy watching other creators be successful. And it's been a real joy watching your channel grow.
Thank you.
I feel like you deserve it. It's very informative. I watch all your videos, and that's where I go to get my information, so it's been cool to watch.
Thank you. Well, don't rely on us for everything. I mean, we try, but I'm still working, 4 days a week. I work as an attorney. And so when I go home on a Thursday night, I turn the attorney off and I turn on we got to do some weekend episodes. So that's why I don't do these extended, some people are on all day, and that's fine if they can do it. Some of them, like you, I like to watch other podcasters, and some of them do a really good job, and I learn from them. I mean, we have to learn from each other, but that's not my gig. People come down in my comment section. I don't know if this happens to you, but people come down in my comment section and say, did you see what so-and-so said? Or so-and-so said that, as though that's the final word. Well, I'm just glad that they include me in their viewing, because, I do watch I watch you, and I'm not going to start naming them because I'll forget other ones. But I watch a lot. I watch a whole lot. I used to watch TV. I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched a TV show.
Yeah. I think I'm about the same. I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't really watch a lot of stuff anyway. I kind of tend to be outdoors a lot and stuff, but when I do, I like to catch up on my
real quick, guys, before they end this, I want you to once again, we've been dropping their links both in here the whole time. Please subscribe to both channels, Unfiltered Lucky and Andrew's channel as well. They're both amazing creators. I support them both very highly, and again, I'm grateful to see them both together doing this. Andrew comes in here often. He's always making very positive comments about the community, the chat, myself, and I very much appreciate and respect that too much. Way so much. And Lucky again has another great channel. He's a very positive person, as I'm always trying to be. Sometimes people don't want me to be that way, and they don't allow for it, but It happens. But and he puts out a positive message as well and does a great job. So please go subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like everything you can on both sides of those channels. They do amazing stuff, guys. And I appreciate you guys doing that. Like I said, tell them Dago sent you. And let them know we support them as well and their journey with this case that we have taken as well. I really thank you all.
YouTube and stuff like that. So, it's just been really cool to see. And I kind of feel like we kind of started up at around the same time.
I think so, yeah.
And, have kind of come up and it's just really cool to see. So I really appreciate you being here. And
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ever since the Big Bang Theory went off the air, there's nothing for me to watch. There's nothing at all. I used to always want to sit down and watch that show, but ever since that show went off, Young Sheldon was okay. It made me laugh. But ever since, Big Bang Theory went on, there's no show that compels me to sit down and watch it. So, yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube at night. I watch a lot of music at night, too. I love music. I watch a lot of music.
That's
I
awesome.
think you were a musician, too, weren't you, at one point?
No. And I always say, I wish I would have learned to play an instrument, but I am not musically. I love music. I love listening to music, but I definitely am not someone who can play music. That's for sure.
Oh, it's not too late. I was taking guitar lessons a few years ago, and my guitar teacher said that there's a lot of people in my age group that, they have a little bit more free time. They're not, raising kids. They're not doing all. So so it's not too late for you, Lucky.
I've been thinking about picking up the guitar and maybe giving it a try. So, you said Tuesday night, your lives are what time?
Tuesday
7
nights.
Eastern?
5 o'clock Eastern.
5 o'clock Eastern. Okay.
Yeah, 5 o'clock Eastern.
Okay, cool, man. Is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap this up?
No, that's pretty much it. Thanks. I think we covered it for this week. Thank you so much for having me on. You're the man. You do a great job. You have an innate ability to sit in front of the camera and just bring your thoughts out. I've tried that, but I've got to bring video in. I've got to be. I tend to bring in video clips and talk about the video clips, or I bring in documents. I used to think it was really boring, but Lainey tells me people actually like you to read to them. So I have to have something to play off, either a video or an audio or a document. But I really admire your ability to just sit in front of the camera and tell a story. I mean, and that's an incredible talent that you have that I'm lacking.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, all right, man. Thanks for hanging out with us today, everybody. And if you like the video, please like the video and consider subscribing to my channel. Consider subscribing to Andrew's channel. It's Law Offices of Andrew D. Myers. So go check him out if you're not already subscribed. And, please subscribe to my channel as well. And I hope that y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Lucky.
All right.
Interesting conversation, I thought, with Unfiltered Lucky. He's a pretty bright guy, and he digs right into the issues where a lot of others haven't. A lot of people just kind of read the documents and move on to the next thing. But Lucky is one of those guys that really thinks and delves into it. And I was wondering what our commenters were thinking in the last episode that we did on the Idaho 4 case. So let's take a look. As always, we have 5 viewer comments, and this is Kylie at Ivy. No wonder Payne's working in the photocopy room. I don't think that's where he's working, but he is working at the University of Idaho. I'm tired of people saying, what does it matter? He pled guilty when you mention anything about the investigation. Right on, Kylie. If you can get someone to take a plea to save his life, and all they really have is transfer DNA on a magic sheath, can't show the lab work or who did the work, then there is a huge problem with the justice system. It should scare everyone. IMO. Well, Kylie, I think Lucky and I touched on this in this episode, that just because Mr. Kohberger did plead guilty, and I'm not saying he didn't do it, I'm just saying that there's a lot of questions. And the more we hear and the more we see of these documents, reports, photographs, and videos, if the intent was to answer all the questions, that has not happened. And so, Kylie, I appreciate the comment, and I agree. Comment number 4 from Purple Feather. I don't see how they could time it when there are victims with defensive wounds. This goes to that report I was talking about where they staged the thing and they ran in and they ran up and down the stairs and counted out the number of stabs. And I don't know, I just thought it was ridiculous. And Purple Feather seems to agree. They don't know if there was arguing back and forth, how much of a struggle there was, if there was time being in the house before the chaos started with the first victim, which is a very good point that I didn't think about in my comments about the supposed recreation. And if there was time in the house after the last victim was subdued. They couldn't place BK inside that house. I don't think they know who was in that house and when. Unless they do know and they covered it up, they're trying to say a person who had never been in that house knew how to get in and what rooms to go to. No ties to the victims. If this was just for the thrill of it, then why did they go to the third floor? Nothing. And this is kind of what Lucky was saying in our conversation in this episode, was that nothing is really being answered here. And every time they make a statement, it seems like they step in it. Those are my words, not his. They step in it and just create more inquiry and more doubt and serious questions. Number 3 from Wanda Pender. Hi, Wanda. Andrew, I literally, oh gosh, this is horrible. Andrew, I literally cried when they brought Sweet Murphy out. He looked across the street as if he was looking for his mama, and not a one of them sitting there acknowledged him. It literally broke my heart. If only dogs could talk. And I agree, for the first words out of Bethany's mouth to be, am I still going to be allowed to go home for Thanksgiving, is a damn getaway that she knows that her ass is guilty of something. I can't even. There you have 4 of your supposed friends laying in that house directly in front of you, deceased, and your thoughts are on eating your frickin' turkey and enjoying your Thanksgiving festivities. Excellent video. Agree, Yoli. This, of course, goes to the comment that I made when we were watching the video that had been released of the scene was outside of 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho on the morning of November 13th of 2022. And we could see over on the side of the screen, one of the police officers was escorting the dog, Murphy, out of the house. And I just made a comment that, along with everything else, call me insensitive or whatever, I just felt for the dog, because that dog had a happy house there, a happy home, and he was being let out for the very last time. And he looked around and it was just sad. Call me whatever name you want, but just to me was a striking moment. Commenter number 2, Karen Weaver. Thank you, Karen. Thank you both for playing the footage and contributing your knowledge, and for the comment section with their thoughts. This would go to, Yoli and I doing an episode. Never in a million would I think we would see this. It truly is a Greek tragedy. The robes, the blankets, the millions of things the police did and didn't do. The house was not being a total wreck. No tables, furniture turned over, no bloody walls, very small interior. Seems any noise would be clear. The young folks living at a party house completely wasted themselves. Folks, everyone is hiding something. Oh boy, we just don't have everything. We just don't have everything. There's more to this story, and I'll just comment about Yoli. Yoli is joining us on a regular basis for now, but she's busy. She's a practicing attorney like myself. I'm here on the East Coast. She's out in California, and she has other things to do. So as much as we like Yoli and we'll have her in the future, she's busy and she can't be here every week. Our final comment on this episode, number 1, is from Kim Laney. Glad you're back. Andrew's going off the deep end with Kohberger. First of all, it's Kohberger. There's no L in the name. I've misspelled things in the past, so I'm not going to be too critical about that. Am I going off the deep end, or am I just answering legitimate questions? Please let us know down in the comment section, because I really would like to know, do you agree with this person that Andrew has gone off the deep end with Kohberger? Or do you think we should continue to follow this case? 2 or 3 episodes ago, I asked the question, there are people out there that say Mr. Kohberger has pled guilty. That's it. End of story. I hate this, but full stop. Close the book and move on. I asked people whether that's what we should do, close the book and move on, or whether we should continue to look at questions that are coming up. About 95%, I didn't count, but I do read all the comments, and in my mind, about 95%, and I'll bet I'm within 1 or 2% margin of error.
Honestly, Linda, they couldn't, because her and Jack bought and owned the dog together. Jack was part owner too, so unless he wanted them to have the dog, they didn't have that choice. You know what I mean?
We're right on the money on that. 95% of you said stay on it. Stay on it. So I'll ask you one more time. Let me know down below. Should we stay on it or move on? So that's it for this week's comments on this case, which is, oh, how did that slide come out like that? This is the case about the Idaho 4, Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. I apologize that the slide came out that way, but thank you so much for staying with us the whole time for this episode. If you've stayed with us this long, I would ask you to leave a dog emoji, a Murphy emoji. Doesn't have to be that breed of a dog, but leave us an emoji of a dog to let us know that you have stayed through the entire episode. I thank you very much for being with us. I appreciate every one of you. Have a nice weekend. Whether you are in the grocery store, the gas station.
Thank you again, Andrew and Unfiltered Lucky. Appreciate that interview. It was a really, really great show. The combination of the two, I think, was amazing. I really, really respectfully enjoyed that, truly, and was grateful to share it with you guys and get your thoughts and feelings on it. It seemed that most people enjoyed it. It seems to have possibly triggered a couple people to be upset about certain things. It's weird because seeing the definition of confession and knowing the reality of that seems to upset people. That's weird, but that's in the legal world. That's truly what it means, folks. The man did not confess.
It also gave us a little glimpse of what it would be like if we was to get all the creators that covered the Idaho 4 into one big old huge stream and just let y'all talk about the case. I
Oh,
know
I think it
Tom
would
has
be
been
amazing. I'm
advocating
down.
for it
I'm
for a
ready
long
and
time
down
too.
for it anytime. Truly.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's got to the 4th, so it'd be amazing if we can get something going before then. But
Well,
this
like I
was a
said, yeah. I wouldn't. I don't personally expect to see something happen in 4 days. I don't. I'm being realistic. I don't expect it. Will it happen? Could it happen? 100%. I don't. And Andrew said he expects it. I don't think it may happen, folks. It's been in the back of my mind. Am I hoping it happens? Absolutely. Do you know how bad I want to see this trial? And I mean bad. I want to know. I mean, we've gotten a lot of information here. I want to see it all. And I mean, every single drop of info. What's up, Kane? Good to see you, buddy. And I seen Buddy Bear up there too. I want to know it all.
and
Everything.
I would love to see it happen, but
I don't think it's
I
going
don't
to
know.
happen either. I don't.
I don't really think it's going to happen. It's just to know that he's got to have another uh, lawyer to come in. That's the issue. That
Well,
it has
he's
to be down
got.
here
Yeah,
from
he's got
Idaho.
in until he files for appeal.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, Ed Taylor can put the appeal in, but he's got to have another lawyer to take over for Aaron.
yes, yeah, and he has to have an appellate attorney to pick this up. Guys, excuse me for about 3 seconds. I'll be right back.
So Yeah, I heard that True Seeker that it can happen on the last 30 minutes of the final hour of the day. There's just a lot of moving parts from what I gather um, for somebody to take on the case for Brian Kohberger. And from my understanding, the prosecutor, uh, there's it's already been forwarded to another office, so you probably won't see Bill Thompson taking over if there was an appeal. But like I said earlier, it's just my opinion. I just think that it's begging to be appealed, just based off of what we all know from the documents and videos and all that stuff. It, this has to go to trial, but we'll see. I'm curious
Um,
to see.
agreed. Transformer Uplifter, welcome and great to have you here again tonight. Says the conference conducted immediately after the sentencing hearing cited significant pronouncements that clarified the initial case findings. As such, can discrepancies found be considered exculpatory? Um, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I mean, I'm sure that they could be. It could be depending on the type of discrepancy, I would think, and what it pertains to or pertains to. I would think so. I don't know for a fact, so don't take my word on it, but that's a good question, and I do truly think it's possible. Um,
Well, I also did you remember hearing somebody say something about his parents already started a funding for a new lawyer?
I heard I somewhere else was talking about selling pictures possibly to make enough money to put together to get a good attorney. And if that's the case, then good. Good, good, good. Thank you, Transformer. I appreciate the questions and the thoughts. And I'm learning. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a law enforcement officer. I'm learning as we go. Um, I read a lot and research a lot, and I spend a lot of time with my crew here. I learn a lot from others in here. I have no problems learning from other people. Phil has taught me things. Lucy, I've learned from many other people. I don't think I'm any better than anybody to be able to learn from somebody else. Nobody's above me, and I'm not above anybody else, guys. I'll learn from somebody I met today. If they teach me something, then I want to see it. I'm like a sponge. I want to absorb all of this that I can. I've never seen a case like this in my life, and I want to take in every bit of it and try to weed through what I think is real and what's not. I try to stick to the facts. I try to stick to what I think is factual information. Um, it's hard sometimes because it's very hard. Very hard to see what's right and wrong. I
Well,
think
in
we've clearly seen a lot of what's wrong, though. I have to say that hemisphere.
definitely, I'm with you because it's the very first time that I've ever covered a case myself or followed one that it's like this, where it's just so many questions that needs to be answered, and a lot of things that's coming from law enforcement or through the prosecutor office, and even in the hearings, it's just all it don't make sense. I could I keep thinking about several things that Hitler has done that this. Well, okay, that's kind of biased of you to do that. You're not being impartial. You're not being a judge. So he has a lot of grounds for an appeal, in my opinion. There's no doubt in my mind he can go up to Supreme Court and go from there. Uh, there's been cases like that. There's a movie called The Hurricane. That's a true story. How Denzel Washington played the role, and it was about a boxer that got falsely accused of murder and ended up spending a lot of time in jail for a crime that he did not commit, but it was because of this group of people up in Canada that took on the case and proved he was innocent. Um, they had to go to the Supreme Court, though. But it was one of those deals where do you realize by you coming up to Supreme Court that you can't go back down to state court? So whatever I decide, this case is going to get thrown out, good or bad. And they rolled the dice and they found him innocent. So I'm saying that because this has been going on for a very long time. Uh, it's just
I agree.
refreshing for me because when you go through Kohberger's paperwork, and he was doing his classwork and his studies, and he was talking about this very same thing. And it's just ironic that it just played out for him in real life. But interesting to see what it does. And the Delphi case too. The Delphi.
Oh yeah, big time.
So that guy, it was said that they talked him into the guilty verdict. You know,
Yeah.
put him in the nastiest prison cell that they could find to get him to confess. And the ironic is, right after that trial, somebody that was so happy to have property near where they found the girls at said that he did it. So there's that. But we shall see.
Right. We shall see. That's correct. Thank you for your insight and your input again, my friend. I always appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Allison, you need to listen to Willie. In what form, dear? What are you talking about? In which way? Did he say something we need to be hearing, or let's see. Welcome, Anna. If I cared about his innocence, he would do something about it. If he cared, you mean, about his innocence, he would do something about it ASAP. Maybe he is being patient about it because literally there's some. Oh yeah, and we were just talking about that earlier. A lot of times in these cases, they wait till the very last minute. You know, they don't want to put anything out too soon. So that could be it, Anna. We don't know. Thank you, SRB. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I need to look up and see if is it legal for them to steal footage of a prison of him being in the cell and moving around in the cell. I ain't never seen that before, Dago. I have questions.
Say that one again.
About the footage of Barry Kohberger walking around in the cell. And
that's definitely not legal. That's never supposed to be put out. Yeah, that should have never happened, obviously. They just have to prove who did it. That's the problem.
I know the phone calls now. Anybody can go up there and get the phone calls.
So, I do believe, yeah, that they can be FOIA'd if they allow for it. Yeah. Yeah, but photographs definitely cannot do that. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's in the book, and his dad's been out in public telling everybody that his son is innocent. I mean, and I would be doing it too if that's what, if I was his father, I'd be doing the same thing. Absolute, without a doubt. I want to show you guys something that I think is hilarious too. Are you guys familiar with Julian Dory? Anybody?
I ain't never heard of that.
Oh, no problem, Allison. It's wonderful to have you here. Has anybody in here at all ever heard of Julian Dory? And we all know who Jesse Weber is, right? You have? Okay. Okay. I want to show you guys just a clip of something. Julian Dory and Jesse Weber jumped together and did something. Okay. Hold on a minute here. Let's see. I'm just saying it is fine if Brian is actually the guy. Right. If he truly is the man that committed the crime and they have proof to show that and to prove that, that's not a problem for me. I want the person that did this to truly be, punished for this. Facts. But if it's not, then that's not true justice to me. But it didn't happen that way. And anyone that thinks that it's fine to be lied to, cool, good for you, but it's not cool to me, and it's not cool to me either. I'm right there with you.
And even using the mainstream media as a way to bash his character, I mean, that's just wow. I don't even watch mainstream media just because of it, but wow.
Well, they don't have any other way to do it, so that's what they have to use. Good night, SRB. Thank you for joining us tonight. See you in the morning. But I just want to show you a quick clip of something, and it's probably going to make some of you angry. I'm not even going to run the whole thing. It's just a few seconds of this for a reason.
Rights. There was no way. Case. But we should talk about this. Is that part of maybe the logic they had with this Kohberger case?
Let's talk about Kohberger.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to come back to Diddy, but
we got to talk
Jesse's
about
been
Kohberger.
Covering this for a few years.
Okay.
We should cover this.
They had Kohberger dead to rights. There was no way an objective jury looking at the evidence was going to find him not guilty. They had cell phone evidence placing him at the scene. They had surveillance footage of his car. They had the DNA on the knife sheath that was left on the crime scene that was a statistical match to him. They had an eyewitness testimony. They made an eyewitness to him, someone matching his description in the house. They had him dead to rights. He was going to be convicted.
Now, give me a second here. Let me back that up.
That was left on the crime scene that was a statistical
We've
match.
been covering this for a few years. We
Okay.
should cover this.
They had Kohberger dead to rights. There was no.
They didn't. They didn't at all. That's the biggest problem with this. But listen.
No way an objective jury looking at the evidence was going to find him not guilty. They had cell phone evidence placed
No, they didn't.
him at the scene. They had surveillance footage of his car.
No, they didn't.
They had the DNA on the knife sheath that was left in the crime scene that was
That is the only thing that they claim that we don't have absolute proof that they didn't have. But I have a huge doubt about that still.
statistical match to him. They had an eyewitness testimony. They made an eyewitness
No, they didn't.
to him, someone matching his description in the house.
No, they didn't.
They had him dead to rights. He was going to be convicted.
This is still going around and round and round and around throughout the internet. People like, and I don't have any personal problems with Jesse Weber, okay? But what he just did, once again, is basic, blatant lying. Truly. I'm not playing the rest of it because it pisses me off. And I've already had a bad night, so I don't need to add to that, okay? Because it's blatant bullshit and it's blatant lying. It's unbelievable. How do you go through your day after day after day after day, going from person to person to channel to podcast, saying these same things again and again, knowing it's not true? The reality behind the fact that 96 point whatever percentage of society is walking around saying these same things to each other day after day. is unbelievable to me. These people are living true to reality lies and spreading them back and forth at each other. And they're okay with that. I don't think that these people could understand the truth if it was given to them. And that's truly my feelings at that point. I mean, I essentially go from place to place, and that's what Lucy does. She absolutely does this. I've seen it happen, folks. She does it here too. She goes from place to place, correcting people's misinformation, and sometimes having social experiment number 158, which does turn into an interesting time. That's good. They refuse to use their mind and sit back for 5 seconds, look at the situation and say, okay, that doesn't make sense. So that couldn't have happened that way. Or then you have people that will go, but he admitted to it. No, he didn't. He said yes. He answered questions. That's what he did. He answered the word yes to multiple questions. That's what he did. He did what they needed him to do to take the death penalty off the table. Folks, sometimes you got to cheat the system to get what you need out of your life, okay? And in that situation, he needed to cheat the system to keep his life. That's all there was to it. Because I think he knew. They knew. In fact, in my opinion, after watching that video and seeing the photographs of the papers that Brian wrote, he did know what was going to happen to him. No matter what, he knew. He knew what the system was doing to him and was going to do to him. And in turn said, I need to do whatever I can do to get this removed, and then we'll deal with it from there, because it wasn't happening. And they tried it, you guys. They tried it before they even went to Ada County. They tried to remove the death penalty. It wasn't going to happen. They were not going to do it without an admission of guilt of some form. In turn, he did what he had to do to save his own life at that point. And did her job as an attorney, a public defender, to save his life. 100% she did her life, or did her job. Okay, that's all there is to it. Now comes the truth and reality of the case. This is where the hard work comes in, okay? And it's going to be hard. There's no two ways to look at that. It's going to be hard. But Brian's young. He's smart. And I think they'll be able to do this. If somebody and whoever picks this up, okay? It'll happen. It will happen, and I think the truth will prevail, folks, at some point, and it may take some time. But everybody out here that has said, then why did he admit to it, is going to have to sit down and shut up. That's all I can say.
I'll say it like this. Can you imagine somebody sitting there going lie after lie after lie to you, knowing balls to bone that these people are straight up lying about you? And the restraint that you have to have within yourself to be able to pump your brakes and not get upset.
You weren't here for it, but I've been there, bro. 3 times I've been there. You can ask my community, my moderators, Cassie. They were here with me. Most of them. Some of them are new, but a lot of them were here with me. I went through this 3 times already, and there were other people out there putting out blatant lies about me. Blatant lies. And I was just as nice as could be until the very end when I didn't have to be. And it took a lot. Yes, it did. You can do it if you know. And here's the biggest part of why I could do that, Hemisphere. Let me say this. The biggest reason why I knew I could sit there very calmly through most of it, which I did, is because they were blatant lies. And I knew they weren't true. That's why it didn't upset me that much, because it was so ridiculous. Yes, my house in Hawaii. That was one of them. Yes. That's why I live here in shit-ass Ohio. But anyway, many things like this, okay? So I knew it wasn't true. And it was so ridiculous. And I knew it was people that were haters, that were jealous of one thing or another, or were angry because I wouldn't. That'll tell you the type of people that we deal with in society, folks. when somebody gets angry enough with you because you disagree with their feelings on something, that they have to do something like that to you to try to close your mouth, that's a really pathetic and sad thing to me. I'm sorry, but it is. It's horrible. Is your life that pathetic that you're going to sit like a keyboard warrior behind a keyboard and type away to somebody you don't know and tell blatant lies about them because you disagree with their feelings on something? When that same person has always been open to hear your theories on it and your feelings on it and respectfully disagreed. That was it. Those are the people we deal with. These other people like Jesse Weber and Ashley Banfield and even as much as I like Vinny, he's even gone there. Okay, Vinny and all of these other people that are out here. It's a paycheck, folks. That's why they do it. I can almost guarantee you that all of these people aren't that stupid. They see the red flags. They know that it don't look right, but they can't talk about it. Because if they do, they lose their paycheck. There's no morality. It's all about the money and the politics, period. That's a damn shame. I'm sorry, I could never do that. I don't give a fuck. I've said that before. You could write me a check for $10 million right now and tell me if you say this and you talk about this and scream this for a week, you get this check. Guess what? Guess who's not going to get the check? Because if I know that it goes against my morality, period, and I know that's not true, and I know that other people could be hurt by the lies, it's not going to happen, folks. I'm sorry. You're not going to make me do something like that. Not for anything. I don't care. But the only other thing that ever I can understand is if somebody tries to hurt your family and you need to protect them by doing something, that's different. And that's what I kind of feel, like I said, when somebody does like what Brian did. There were threats coming through, and he did feel that he had to do certain things for his best interest and his family's and his defense attorneys, for that matter. That's truly what I feel. Welcome, Miss Noel. It's so lovely to see you tonight, as always. I've been here through that. It happened to you and Lana. Yeah, it's a rotating wheel of bullshit, folks. It's happened to the best of us, truly, many a times. Many a times. Thank you, Noel. I appreciate you supporting us as well. And Miss Meg, what are you doing for the Bora Bora house? Thank you so much, Meg. I love you. I appreciate you very much.
Well, my ears kind of perked up right at the end of that show where it was talking about Ed Taylor, and it was going through all the witnesses that she's had, and none of them was called up. I found that interesting.
Yeah, we did see that. I remember reading that, and we talked about that the other day.
Well, I know she took on that other case, which I know Hipper pretty much got on her about why you take that other case when all your priority should be on this one. Do you know anything?
Yeah, I remember when he said that to her, yeah. I think she might have thought up to a point that she was going to get assistance from the court. And at that point, then she realized maybe it was too late then. So that could be a good reason for that. Who knows?
Man.
Well, guys, we've been here 3.5 hours, and it was interesting to say the least. We'll be back in the morning, of course. And I think we're going to call it a night. It was kind of a rough one. And again, I want to give my deepest apologies to the entire community for having to encounter that situation. I truly am sorry. And we try to avoid those kinds of things on a regular. And I'm sorry that it interrupted the video. It was a very, very good video. And I really enjoyed that a lot. And don't forget to jump on over to subscribe to Lucky and Andrew. show them some love and support, and we will be back in the morning. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your night. Please don't forget to love yourselves. What's that?
I'm saying I want to respond to Lucy real quick. I hear you on that, Lucy. I think with Saray and everything that she was trying to present to Hitler, and he turned her down, that to me was Hitler trying to control the narrative.
He absolutely was controlling it, period.
And he was the extra prosecutor, pretty much. He was going to make sure that this goes to trial, if it does go to trial. And he was not going to deviate from the schedule, because I know that's what she was trying to get Hitler to change the dates and all that, but he would not budge on the dates at all. That had a lot to do with it as well. I think, in my humble opinion, I think Brian Kohberger had a lot to say about her arguments, because he is very smart, and I got that from his writings. So, what angle do you? I mean, it's kind of like getting backed into the corner, and you're in a 12-round bout in boxing, and you finally got wore down, and you just throwing in the towel at the moment because you just don't know what else you want to do. You know, they've been trying to get that DP, death penalty, off the table for the longest period of time. She's even talking about the mitigation investigation that was going into the death penalty. She couldn't get that taken care of. So that's the reason why she kept on delaying. And that kind of shows in that all those witnesses that the last document that we was talking about earlier, they wasn't even getting called. So I don't know if it was Brian Kohberger's idea for the plea, or if it was her going to Brian Kohberger, or however that went about. But according to his writings, Brian Kohberger is a very smart person, and he pretty much called it out way long before he made this deal. But hopefully we get an appeal, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We will see.
He's begging for it.
For sure. I do agree. Thanks for joining me, Hemisphere. I appreciate you very much. I hope you have a great rest of your night, sir, and hope to see you tomorrow sometime, possibly.
All right, boss. We'll see you.
Take care, my friend. Thank you again. You guys have an amazing rest of your night. If any of you mods are late nighters, jump into the voice with me for a few minutes, please, after the fact. For those of you that are going to be awake. If you're not, don't worry about it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Other than that, folks, don't forget to love yourselves and love each other. Please don't change nothing. You guys are the beautiful people. I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate you all so very much. Good night. God bless, and I will see you very soon, folks. You guys are all so very amazing. Bye-bye now.
Blood on the menu, coffee served blacker than a night raid. Knives out, silverware sharper than a switchblade. Cops on the block, sniffing scents like a bloodhound. Sharp lines drawn where dreams get gunned down. Orders come quick, whispers in the steam rising. Crooked deals, blue truth drowning, no compromise in this cafe and quaint. It's a scene out of nightmares. Mugs clink with the sounds laced with despair. True crime cafe where secrets spill like cream. Every sip a confession, every cup a scream. Tables hold stories soaked in guilt and grime. Dago serves the brew, murders keep the time. Menacing the code, specials written in blood. Today's dish, betrayal, served with a grudge. Dago in the back, flipping pancakes with a snarl. Bullet holes in the walls, paint a mural that's dark. Customers in shadows, faces blurred like a dream. Conversations and whispers, plotting schemes unseen. This ain't your local diner, this is Hell's Canteen, where your last meal's a latte and regrets the cream. True crime cafe where secrets spill like cream. Every sip a confession, every cup a scream. Tables hold stories soaked in guilt and grime. Dago serves the brew, murders keep the time.